Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Oswald Football. My name is Lockie, and we are here for a mega live stream tonight. Watch party for not one, but two games. We've got the Sydney Derby coming up, and then following that, but there's going to be a period of time here in about, like an hour or so where we're going to be watching two games at the same time. Matildas taking on Malawi. It's the first game following the Asian Cup for the Tillies, so a lot going on tonight. So jump in the live chat, say g'day. As the Sydney Derby's only a few minutes away from kicking off. And we're looking at the lineup here from Google, and which they've updated a little bit. They don't usually include the players' faces from memory, so this is a fresh look from Google. But look, I'm curious to see. I think for some of these lineups, maybe more so Western Sydney Wanderers, it might not necessarily look exactly like this formation-wise, which is sometimes the case when you're looking at the lineups online. But running through Western Sydney Wanderers, first of all, we will talk about the home team, of course. Wanderers, bottom of the table as it stands. Western Sydney, of course, out of finals contention mathematically. But it's always been a very underwhelming campaign for the Wanderers. Carluccio, Brillante, Kankan, Pantanzopoulos across that backline. So it may well be Pantanzopoulos playing at left back tonight. Gersbach is on the bench. Ugarkovic, Thurgate, Shikluna. Those three guys will probably be working hard in midfield. Gyros, Kryev. I reckon those guys will be the two wingers in this game for the Wanderers. And Brandon Borello expected to lead the line, I reckon, for Western Sydney. Sky Blues, a couple of changes for them. Second match in charge for Patrick Kisnorbo. Devonish Mears has had a great season for Sydney FC. He starts once again. Ryan Grant in there at the back. Ben Garuccio probably playing over at left back, not centre back as Google is showing here. Popovich and Courtney Perkins in there as well. Kamijon Paul, Ocon Enksler in the middle of the park. Arslan, Toure, Kispe, Stamatolopoulos leading the line. So, look, there's quality on both sides, that's for sure. Obviously, the Sky Blues are much further up the ladder at the moment. They are probably favourites. I think it's fair to say they're favourites in this game. But having said that, you never know what's going to happen in a derby match. Even with Western Sydney Wanderers struggling as they are this season, you never know. You never know. So feel free to drop some score predictions in the live chat as well. What do you make of this Sydney derby, this final Sydney derby of the season? How do you see it faring? Tan Lee's in the live chat. G'day, good to see you here, mate. Blinkus as well says, g'day, everyone. It says Sydney 3-1 for me. Yeah, look, I'm in my predictions. I did my predictions video during the weekend. I said, from memory, I think I said Wanderers were going to win in that game. I don't know why. It was just, it obviously, the way it's shaping up, it looks like Sydney FC should win. But because the A-League is the A-League, I was like, the opposite's probably going to happen. And look, Western Sydney Wanderers, they haven't been getting the results, obviously, but they have shown, watching their games, the second half of this season, it actually hasn't been all that bad. There's been some good performances here and there, and going forward in attack, they actually look all right at times. With no Ryan Fraser in the starting lineup tonight for Wanderers, we should say as well, of course. But they have quality going forward. Kryev has looked good in recent games. Shikluna has been one of the top midfielders in the competition this season overall. They're still a decent team, Western Sydney Wanderers, and I think on their day they're still capable of getting a result. So look, this season is done for the Wanderers, as we know, but they would love to get a win here against Sydney FC. But it's a big game for the Sky Blues, man. Let's look at the ladder. Can we pull that up? Because it's very, very interesting looking at how things are standing. And we'll talk about some of the other games from the round so far as well. Sydney FC, this ladder, we're just getting this ladder here from Google. The Sky Blues currently sit 5th on the ladder here, 34 points. Melbourne City in 6th place, just 2 points behind them. And then you got MacArthur, 31 points, just 3 points behind them. With a few games to go this season, the Sky Blues haven't secured finals football. So it's important for Patrick Kisnorbo I think it was good for Kisnorbo to come in and just sort of steady the ship a little bit, make sure that Sydney FC just stay on their current course and secure finals football. But look, it hasn't been amazing for Sydney FC. As you can see here, the last 5 as well, worth highlighting. The Sky Blues without a win in their last 4 games, 2 losses there before Patrick Kisnorbo came in, a 0-0 draw with Brisbane last week. So Sydney FC, they're not necessarily in fantastic form at the moment. So this will be very interesting. Tan Lee says, it's been a tough season for Wanderers. I hope we win tonight. Luke as well. G'day, Luke says 2-0 shock. Wanderers win. The teams are coming out of the tunnel right now as we speak, folks. In Australia, you can watch this game on free-to-air. Channel 10. What do they call their website? It used to be called 10 Play. I don't know if it's called that anymore. But you can watch on free-to-air on 10. It's also on Paramount Plus, of course. And we will be live. We'll be staying live for the Tillies game as well. The Matildas taking on Malawi. That is kicking off at 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is just under an hour and a half from now. So there'll be a period of time, about half an hour, where we'll be running a bit of a multi-screen setup here, and I'm sure you guys will have your multi-screen set up, and we'll bring you guys all the commentary and discussion surrounding not just the Sydney derby, but the Matildas game, which is getting underway shortly as well. Mr. Pro 23, welcome, man. Says, I think a 1-0 win for the Sky Blues. Mr. Pro, good to see you here, mate. Thanks for jumping in the live chat. John, g'day, John, says Western Sydney needs changes. The players tonight need to show why they deserve a spot in Ufuk Talay's side from next season. Yep, well said, John. Look, obviously they can't play finals football, Wanderers, but it is all about working hard for the remainder of this season for players to secure contracts for next campaign. And I'm glad, John, you made that comment. Of course, that reminded me about Ufuk Talay, one of the big storylines at the moment surrounding the Sydney derby. Ufuk Talay, who was head coach of Sydney FC just a few weeks ago. And it felt like he was going to be there for at least the remainder of the season. Departs the role. Well, first of all, there were reports linking Ufuk Talay to the Wanderers job, which was already pretty crazy. And then I think it was like a week later, it was announced that he parted ways with Sydney FC. And then I think a week after that, Wanderers announced that Ufuk Talay was going to be the next head coach. So it's been a dramatic last month or so for Sydney fans and Wanderers fans. And Ufuk Talay has switched allegiances. And look, of course, he's not in charge tonight, Ufuk Talay. That should be made clear. Ufuk Talay is taking over as head coach from next season. He's on a 2-year deal from next season. But I'm sure he'll be somewhere in the stadium, Ufuk Talay. And, watching this performance closely. But how bizarre that must be for Ufuk Talay. He's built this Sydney FC side. He's been there for the last few years, and he'll know the squad so well, obviously. But now he's got to turn his focus to Western Sydney Wanderers. That's the question, Luke, who asks, is Ufuk Talay the right change for Western Sydney Wanderers? The club also announced Impiobato to join the club as the new director of football. Yes, I did say that during the week as well. And it's a good move, I think, for Western Sydney Wanderers. It feels like they're in a period right now where they just need to go through a whole lot of change and just refocus for the football department and rebuild. So here we go. This game is about to kick off. Of course, on the YouTube live streams here, the broadcast that you're watching of the game may be just slightly ahead of this live stream. So when I'm ever watching like a live watch along, I'll always pause the game and try and sync it up with the live stream. So Western Sydney Wanderers hosting Sydney FC, Combank Stadium. We are underway. There is kickoff just there. Wanderers getting us underway. And this is obviously the third derby of the season. Wanderers getting the win early on in the campaign against Sydney. And then Sydney getting the win at their home stadium, Allianz Stadium. And now in April, How about this? I feel like it's not often. I feel like it's unusual to get a Sydney derby this late in the season. It doesn't feel like they often get played this late. But we are underway. Here's a look at that ladder. As you can see, Sydney FC 5th. Wanderers last place as a cross comes in. Al Hassan Toure. He's playing on that right wing tonight, Toure. Al Hassan Toure, it's been... I mean, he's been out with injury for a little bit, Toure. He missed a chunk of the season. But, of course, prior to that, he was in the Socceroos squad, we shouldn't forget. Not in the most recent one, of course, but Al Hassan Toure did feature for the Socceroos during the November friendlies, November 2025. But Toure on that right-hand side is Garuccio. That's a great touch. What a chance! Oh, my goodness! Well, Sydney FC should be in front after a minute and a half. Somehow they didn't score there. What happened there, dude? Great long ball. It was Popovic for Garuccio. The touch from Garuccio was incredible. And he was trying to square it up for Stamatolopoulos, but it felt like he could have gone for goal there. He was in a great position. That was an unbelievable touch. Great control from Garuccio. Wow. Dramatic start. Sydney FC. That should have been a goal. It really should have been a goal, getting in behind that easily. Fantastic. So, Sky Blues looking up for it early on here. Of course, a bit of pressure on Sydney FC just to secure their place in finals. If they fail to win tonight, if Sydney FC lose tonight, it's going to get real nervy for them, isn't it? Mr. Process. Even though I'm a Jets fan, I do like watching Sydney derbies. Yes, of course, they are one of the highlights of the A-League calendar. But Mr. Pro, obviously, you being a Jets fan, I'm sure you're probably disappointed that Newcastle played a 1-1 draw with Adelaide at home. Late equaliser from the Jets as well. Daniel Wilmering. That game was just wrapped up before this one. Newcastle Jets. Well, both Newcastle and Auckland played today. Both teams failing to win. Both teams with late equalisers. And at the top of the A-League table, you can see there, still a 3-point gap. Newcastle Jets have the advantage. Luke asks, what did you think of the other games tonight if you caught them? I did, yes. Corica with a red card basically guarantees Milligan gets a head coach of the year award. Even regardless. Dude, I'll tell you what, even if Auckland went on to win the Premier's Plate, I think Milligan still gets coach of the year. Just what he has done coming into his first season in charge of the Jets. And even if Jets would have finished second, it's been remarkable. I think Jets had that Australia Cup triumph prior to the A-League season, which was a fantastic achievement. And because of that, but even despite that Australia Cup triumph, I don't think anyone expected them to finish at the very, very top. A lot of people were tipping Jets to play finals, but no one was necessarily tipping them to be competing for silverware at the very end. But there they are. So for me, Milligan is coach of the year. I think it's done and dusted. Sydney FC won the ball high at the park. Shot comes in. Good save, Lawrence. But Kispe's there on the follow-up, and it's going to be a corner. Good save. Lawrence Thomas called into action for the first time this evening. Blinkus, yes. Some really tight VAR calls in the Jets Adelaide game. Dude, I tell you what, and I'm not just saying this because, for those who know, I'm a Mariners fan. As Ocon Exler, long-range shot goes wide. I feel like the Reds were a little bit hard done by with those calls. That call where the ball was supposedly crossed the line, it wasn't definitive. The on-field decision was goal, and if you're going to overrule it, you have to be certain. So I think Reds fans should be bitterly disappointed with that call, that they didn't, that second goal didn't stand. There's no camera angles to show you for certain that ball crossed the line. And every time you look at it, you can't tell for sure. And because of the angles that they have, there's no camera that's right in line with the goal line. Because of the angles they have, you can't definitively say that's gone across the line. And the key thing in that call in that Jets Adelaide game is the fact that the on-field decision was goal. If the on-field decision was no goal, I wouldn't have had a problem with it staying no goal. You know what I mean? But the on-field decision was goal. So that means VAR has to be certain, there has to be clear and obvious evidence that the ball crossed the line, that it was not there. There was not clear and obvious evidence that ball crossed the line. I think the Reds fans should be fuming about that. Because if that was my team, I'd be fuming. Yeah. Going back to talking about Jets and where they are on the ladder. Yeah, Luke says, even I, as a Jets fan, had them between 5th and 8th on the ladder. Yeah, they've exceeded everyone's expectations. So, Western Sydney Wanderers trying to work their way into this game. Kriev has it. Trying to wrestle with the defenders and loses out. It's been a hectic round of football so far, actually, hasn't it? Last night, Central Coast Mariners 2, Brisbane Roar 2. Earlier today, Auckland FC 2, Melbourne Victory 2. And then another draw as well, of course, that one that we were just speaking about, Newcastle Jets 1, Adelaide 1. How will the Sydney derby pan out? Carluccio, what a chance. Oh, Wanderers with a nice little passage of play there in the box. 7 minutes have gone by. That was a great opportunity for the Wanderers. Carluccio just couldn't control it. He was in a fair amount of space in the box as well. Appreciate you guys joining us for this live watch along tonight. We are doing a live watch party for this Sydney derby, of course, but also the Matildas game, which is kicking off in just over an hour. So, busy night tonight. Busy day of football. It has been so far. Chance for Wanderers down the left. Let's see what they do here. Pantanzopoulos playing at left back tonight. Oh, great chance. Borello in the box. Can they get a shot away? Jai Rose trying to win it. Rose again. Jai Rose. Oh, that's a poor miss. Well, promising young player signed from the Mariners Academy in the offseason, and Jai Rose in the box. You've got to hit the target from there, surely. It's a good question, John. Have we ever had a whole round of draws? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But someone do a Google search for us or something. Let us know. Has there ever been a full round of draws? I'd love to know. I would love to know. Maybe there has been. I mean, considering how many rounds there have been in A-League history, there probably has been a round or two where every game has been a draw, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. Another good question from Luke, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Jai Rose is on the ball, looking to get forward down the right. Thurgate on the overlap. Thurgate with a cross. And Sydney will clean up defensively. The Wanderers, in the last few minutes, just looking a bit more adventurous in attack. Oh, Touré's going to win this ball. Here's a chance for Sydney, maybe. Oh, Alassane Touré almost sneaking into it to go on the attack. So we are 10 minutes into this Sydney derby, folks. 10 minutes now. Western Sydney Wanderers 0. Sydney FC 0. First half. 10 minutes. Wanderers bottom of the table. Sydney FC in 5th. But this question from Luke. Thanks, man. Do you think Sydney should try and keep Stammer for next season, or look to a different striker? Stammer has really become a journeyman of the A-League, Adelaide, Western United, Jets, and Sydney. Yeah, 4th A-League team, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, dude. If I was a Sydney fan, I'd be keen for Stamatolopoulos to stick around. I think he could really flourish there next season with a full preseason at the Sky Blues under his belt. Maybe you sort of build your attack around Stamatolopoulos. Maybe bring in some other players to try and complement Stamatolopoulos and what he brings to that front line, and try and get the most out of him. But look, one of Apostolos Stamatolopoulos' best seasons was a few years ago at Newcastle Jets. And he hasn't quite found that goal-scoring form at the Sky Blues, since arriving mid-season. But he's still a top striker. And I'm sure as a forward, he still has very much so has Socceroos' ambitions still. Oh, look, maybe that was part of the thinking for Stamatolopoulos returning to the A-League, is maybe looking to get more game time and put himself in contention for a World Cup spot. But at this rate, it's okay. I mean, it's very competitive, that forward position, but there's probably some other players that are ahead of him at the moment, to be fair. So Wanderers have won a free kick in a decent position here. After that great early chance, a minute and a half in for Sydney FC. Haven't had too much going forward, and the Wanderers in the last 5 minutes have just started to find a little bit of momentum. Mr. Pro is coming in here. Thanks for checking on that, Mr. Pro. Says there has not been a full round of draws in the A-League men's. Wow. I thought maybe there would have been, maybe in the early years when there weren't as many games per round, but there you go. That's right, Adam. Of course, Newcastle. They won the Australia Cup last year. Can they win the A-League this year as well? Of course, another thing that hasn't been spoken about too much, but Newcastle Jets on the verge of, well, they might have done it already considering the ladder. We'll have to look at the ladder. I think Newcastle Jets with that result tonight has just secured Asian Champions League football. Pantanzopoulos. Oh, well, free kick for the Wanderers. Pantanzopoulos not too far away. Devonish Mears had to stay strong behind it. Great shot. Dude, look at the dip on that effort from Pantanzopoulos. 13 minutes in, it's 0-0 in the Sydney derby. G'day, Troy. Says, hey, Lockie, good to see you yesterday. It was a big one. I feel like the ref was helping Brisbane at the end there. Yeah. Yeah, look, as a Mariners fans, it's always tough seeing those calls not go your team's way. And yeah, there was a bit of frustration last night. And dude, just devastating, for the game to end in a draw. Big story last night. Jesse Mantell with a fantastic performance on his starting debut for the Mariners in the A-League. Thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button, support the channel. Here on Watch Football, we're talking all things football in Australia, A-Leagues, Matildas. We'll be staying live for the Matildas game later this evening. Socceroos, of course, as well. Socceroos, a couple months off before World Cup preparation, just around the corner. Okay. But yeah, if you haven't done so yet, press the like button. You can consider subscribing as well if you want to keep up to date to our live streams, and you can also consider sending in a super chat to support the channel. Pantanzopoulos is breaking away down the left. Here's a chance for Wanderers. Cross comes in. Oh, it was like a cross, but it was almost a shot, and it's gone wide. Yeah, man, Jesse Mantell was superb last night. That's right, Blinkers. Yeah, Jets already guaranteed Asian Champions League 2 because of the Oz Cup win. Yeah, but because Auckland can't play in the ACL competitions, I'm looking at the ladder now. Let's pull that up again, actually. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't checked online, but if my math is correct, Jets are now 7 points clear of Adelaide. With 2 games to go, Newcastle Jets, I think, have just secured Champions League elite football for next season. Elite. So They were already going to be in the Champions League 2 next season. But Newcastle Jets, if I'm not mistaken, have just secured Champions League elite football, which is huge for that club. Which may well mean, I don't know if this is confirmed. Don't take my word for it. I don't know if it's confirmed, but the runners-up in the Australia Cup last year, Heidelberg United, may well be the contestants from Australia in the Asian Champions League 2. We'll see what happens in that department. But goodness me, there you go. Sydney FC looking to come forward down the left. Ben Garuccio. Very physical stuff. Toure, great chance. Oh my goodness, what an opportunity. After 16 minutes into this game, Al Hassan Toure shot towards goal just wide. Great chance. Once again for Sydney. Alrighty. As Troy was asking there, so who would get the Champions League 2 spot now? Yeah, I think it is Heidelberg. Again, don't take my word for it, but they're the runners-up in the Australia Cup, so you would imagine it would be them. Got a Adstar who says Sydney FC would have to be the winners of this game. I mean, you would think, but in Sydney derbies, you never know. 17 minutes have just ticked by. 17 minutes. As Paul Lederer, the Wanderers chairman, is currently on the screen on the broadcast. In Sydney derbies, you never know what's going to happen. You never know. That's right, Adam. 7 points clear. 7 points ahead of Adelaide. 10 points clear of Sydney FC. Yeah, and it's that 7 points clear of Adelaide, which would mean that they will definitely secure a top 2 position. Newcastle Jets. They will be going straight through to the semi-finals, and to my understanding, will be playing Asian Champions League elite football. Mr. Pro earlier saying, one thing I'm concerned about is Will Dobson going off with a concussion. Yeah, that's it was obviously a concern. And hopefully Will Dobson is okay. Blinker says, I think the next highest Oz club in the A-League would get the ACL 2 spot, but I'm not 100%. Yeah, and obviously, I mean, it could be Adelaide. It could be, look, Victoria still in with a chance there. Sydney could also still finish third. So, as of course, Auckland cannot play in the AFC competitions. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, whether it goes to another A-League team. Luke says Heidelberg are the team that get the ACL 2 spot if they pass the finances for the ASC. If not, then it'll go to the A-League. There we go. Thanks, Luke. As Luke says, I think the commentators said something about that on the broadcast during Jets Adelaide. Interesting. Okay. It does make sense. Yeah. That feels fair for the ACL 2 spot to go to Heidelberg. But if they, for whatever reason, cannot compete, then yeah, A-League. As Toure, oh, what a goal! Sydney FC lead. Al Hassan Toure, well, he missed a chance a moment ago. And look at this. Oh, no, the celebration is in front of the Wanderers fans. Al Hassan Toure, fantastic finish. What a strike. Sydney lead in the derby. Just after 19 minutes into this game, and it's Sydney who make the breakthrough. Nice play through midfield. Camijo driving forward, and what a ball into the feet of Toure. It's poor defending from Wanderers. The fact that Toure was just allowed that space in the box, and that's a great finish. The turn and the finish. That is a brilliant goal from Al Hassan Toure. He was a Socceroo at the end of last year. That's a dude. I mean, Lawrence, there's not many goalkeepers stopping that. It was at his near post, Lawrence Thomas, but because of the power on the strike. Fantastic from Toure. Troy says it's Toure time. Mr. Pro says, what a goal. What a goal indeed. 5th goal of the season in the A-League for Al Hassan Toure. Player who's had a few A-League clubs, Adelaide United, MacArthur SC, now at Sydney FC, scoring against the Wanderers tonight. That is a great goal, and Sydney lead. Blinkus, yep, good play from Camijo there. Lovely midfield play. Receiving the ball, driving forward into the space, and Wanderers just backing off. But it was it was a good pass there. It looked, I think it was more difficult than it looked to get the weight on that pass correct through the channel to find Toure in the box. Great vision as well from Camijo. Wataru Camijo, limited game time this season under Ufuk Tale, but Patrick Isnob come in and given Camijo an opportunity in midfield. Alrighty. So the Sky Blues, Sydney FC, lead. And that's an important goal for them. As I was saying earlier, Sky Blues, I mean, look, for Wanderers, their season is done and dusted, but they would love to get a win here in the derby. But the Sky Blues, they're going to make sure they keep racking up the points all the way through to the end of the season. Otherwise, they could slip out if results don't go their way. Pantanzopoulos with a shot. Good save. Comfortable save for Harrison Devonish-Mears. Checking out some of the stats here from Google. Wanderers with 2 shots after 20 minutes. Well, make that 3 shots now. 5 shots for Sydney FC. Just the 2 on target. They've got the goal. A little bit more possession for Sydney FC as well. The Sky Blues team. Toure, who's playing on that right-hand side of the attack tonight for Sydney. Brilliant. So, Sydney FC, they are in control. Here comes Paul Okonengsler through the middle. So much space, dude. Oh, poor pass. A lot of space opening up in the middle of the park for Wanderers. It's becoming a little bit too easy for Sydney FC to progress the ball forward up the pitch. All right, we are staying live tonight for the Matildas game, which is kicking off in just under 1 hour, folks. You can also watch that. I think that game's on Paramount Plus here in Australia. But the lineup would be out by now, so let's do a quick little live reaction to the Matildas lineup, shall we? Sydney FC looking to score a second goal. They're coming forward again. Good cross. Just too much on it, though, for Stamatolopoulos. So the Matildas are taking on Malawi tonight. All righty. And the Matildas lineup has been confirmed. Mackenzie Arnold starting in goals tonight for Australia. Courtney Nevin, Winnie Heatley starting. Claire Wheeler, Caitlin Torpy, Caitlin Ford starting. Negmon, Chidiak, Rasso, Kerr, and Charlie Rule getting a start as well. So it's a pretty full-strength lineup from Australia tonight. In the preview video that I put out a couple of days ago talking about that Tilly's game coming up, I was thinking that maybe this was an opportunity to rotate the squad a little bit. But that's okay. It's a full-strength lineup pretty much for Australia. So we're all very curious to see how Australia fares in these 2 games coming up against... Look, we're taking on Malawi. It's not often that the Tillies get to take on opponents from Africa. It'll be a different challenge for the Matildas. That game kicking off in just under an hour. Pantanzopoulos long throw coming up. Ball is floated in high. Great chance. Kryev can't get the shot off. Sydney FC with bodies in the road, and they deal with it. So after 25 minutes is a 1-0 lead for Sydney FC in the Sydney derby. How about that? Thanks for mentioning that, John. Who says first goal since December 6 for Toure. There you go. It has been a while. He has been out with injury for a little bit. It was such a well-taken goal, man. Such a good finish. Mr. Pro's back in the Matildas to get a 2-0 win. Yeah, look, Australia should be winning tonight against Malawi. And with the lineup that we just looked at, it's a full strength lineup for Australia. So I think we should be expecting nothing less than a victory. Luke says, should have at least started Aquino or Lincoln, in my opinion. Yeah, I agreed. In my preview video, I talked about my predicted 11. And I was wanting Morgan Aquino to start. We saw Chloe Lincoln in the Asian Cup as well, but Morgan Aquino hasn't. She's been in a few Matilda squads, but here comes Stamatolopoulos. Great chance. Stamatolopoulos around the keeper. Oh, what a block. On the line, it's the former Sydney FC player, Josh Belante, with the goal line clearance, but the offside flag may have been up anyway. Yep. I agree with you, Mr. Pro. With that Matildas lineup, we should be winning tonight. A-League X, welcome, mate. How's the game been? It's been good so far. It's been not too many clear-cut chances, but Sydney FC, they've ultimately made the breakthrough. Wanderers have had a couple of moments going forward, but Sky Blues have been the better team so far. And also, we've got edits in the chat as well. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining us for the live watch party tonight for not one, but 2 games. Here at Ozwatch Football, we talk all things Australian football, A-Leagues, Socceroos, Matildas, and tonight we are covering 2 of those. The A-League tonight with the Sydney Derby, 1-0 to the Sky Blues after 27 minutes. And then kicking off in just under an hour, folks, the Matildas taking on Malawi. So we are staying live and we're going to be rocking the multi-screen setup because with the Matildas game kicking off at, 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, the Sydney Derby will still have, 20 minutes or so to go at that point. So we'll be keeping an eye on both games, folks. So appreciate you being here, joining us for the journey, joining us for what will be, I'm sure, a very, very fun evening. Sky Blues are looking pretty comfortable, dude. Looking very comfortable. A-League X, I did want to talk about this. A-League X raises the point here saying our crowd is poor, which is sad. Used to be such a big derby. Hey, and I think it still is. I think it still is a big derby. For me, it's probably still is the biggest derby in the league. Look, whether you want to put the Kiwi derby in that conversation, that is obviously a big derby as well. The Melbourne derby as well, F3 derby. There's a lot of big derby matches in the A-League. But I think it's just the context of Wanderers being in the position that they are in as Garuccio plays across that sails out of play. 29 minutes played. I think the fact that Wanderers are in the position they are in, bottom of the table, it's been a really poor season for them. And the Wanderers fans are showing their feelings by with the turnouts in the crowds. And look, they're a passionate fan group, Western Sydney Wanderers, one of the best fan groups in the competition. But obviously on the pitch, it hasn't been good enough this season. The Wanderers fans deserve better. So it's been a tough campaign for Western Sydney. So I think it was sort of the expectation heading into this game that it didn't quite have the hype of previous derbies. But look, if these two teams were both in finals contention, like if Wanderers were sort of chasing a top 6 spot as well, I think it'd be very different. But yeah, there's a sense that there's a big gap, a big gulf between the two teams, a gulf in quality. Sky Blues have been a lot better than Wanderers this season, obviously. The ladder doesn't lie. No worries, Marcus. Thanks for jumping in, man. What a game. Keep this up, we might win the league. Marcus is a Sydney FC fan, for those who don't know. A long-time viewer of the channel. Thanks for jumping in, Marcus. And hey, it's a good start for Sydney FC, isn't it, Marcus? Looking good. Patrick Isnorbo, his second game in charge of Sydney FC. Western Sydney Wanderers, after half an hour, haven't created too many chances. They've had a few shots. Stamatolopoulos, great chance. Oh, great save again. Flag is up again, though. Apostolos Stamatolopoulos again with a chance, but again the flag goes up. So, but the main thing is like they're finding him. They're finding him in the box there. Yeah, that is worth mentioning, Blink, because both clubs aren't in great form. That doesn't help. Yes, yeah. While Sydney FC are still in the top 6, they are without a win in the last 4. So this will be big for Sydney if they can get the 3 points to just get things back on track a little bit now. It was a great save indeed, Mr. Pro. Lawrence Thomas, good reflexes. Adstar says, West Sydney Wanderers used to have the most fanatical followers. And look, they still do. They've still got a very passionate fan base, and the RBB always shows up in strong numbers. But yeah, obviously the crowd numbers were a little bit bigger in some of their earlier years, and I'm sure they can get back to that. And maybe Ufuk Talay, former Sydney FC head coach, is the man to do that, coming in charge of the side next season. Ufuk Talay, is he the man to bring the glory back to Western Sydney Wanderers? We, of course, all remember the early years of Western Sydney Wanderers. 3 grand finals in there. Oh, heavy challenge. Heavy challenge. Sydney FC bench isn't happy about it. There's a push from Garuccio. And there's some grabbing. There's a big I mean, what do you want to call it? Everyone's just grabbing each other. All sort of a little bit unnecessary, the way that sort of unfolded. A lot of passion being shown. Obviously, this has been a frustrating season for West Sydney Wanderers, but it was a very, very heavy challenge. So referee Daniel Elder may be showing some cards here. The yellow ticket is out. So we'll see who gets booked here. Yeah, as Luke says there. Yeah, it was Garuccio versus Carluccio for a second there. So Brandon Borello's picked up a yellow card, and Ben Garuccio has also picked up a booking as well. So Paulo Canexla, oh, dude, yeah. I mean, a clear yellow card for Borello. That was dangerous, dude. That was dangerous, and it was unnecessary. The challenge on Okonanksa, I mean, is way out on the sideline, and for Borello just to fly in and clean him up like that was completely unnecessary. So that's a very, very obvious yellow card. But Garuccio also got booked. Mr. Pro says, I think the Sydney Derby should have the same hype no matter when or where the teams are in the league. Yeah, I agree, of course, as well. And of course, with Sydney Derbies, regardless of where the teams are on the ladder, I think anyone can win. That's why in my predictions video that I put out earlier in the week, I actually predicted Wanderers to win. Sydney FC are certainly looking like the better side already. But yeah, you never know what's going to happen in the derbies, hey? Yes, Marcus, the Matildas lineup is out. Did come out some minutes ago. It's a very much a full-strength lineup, I think it's fair to say, for the Tillies. It'll be interesting to see formation-wise how Australia line up, whether there'll be any changes to the formation. Mackenzie Arnold in goals. It looks like for Australia, it'll be a back 4 of Torpy, Rule, Heatley, and Nevin. So Charlie Rule getting a start. Great to see. In midfield for Australia, Wheeler, Van Egmond, and Chidiac. And then it looks like it'll probably be a front three of Rasso, Kerr, and Ford. So we thought that maybe heading into this Matildas game, I put up my Matildas preview, the match preview video out a couple of days ago. I was thinking maybe we're going to see a bit of rotation, maybe some minutes for players who we haven't seen too much of lately. But yeah, I think it's fair to say it's a full-strength Matildas lineup. That game is kicking off in just under 45 minutes. Pansanzopoulos, long throw, flicked on. Great chance for Kraev. Well, he had a free header, but straight into the gloves of Devonish Mears. A-League X says, I wonder who will join Western Sydney Wanderers for their rebuild season. Yeah, good question. I mean, I wonder if Ufuk Talay will be tempted to maybe bring some players over from the rival Sydney FC, which would, I'm sure, cause some drama as well. Well, yeah, maybe some previous players that Ufuk Talay has worked with that are maybe at other clubs. Maybe he could bring them to Western Sydney Wanderers. So yeah, that'll be an interesting thing to watch over the off season. That's right, Adam. India versus Kenya follows Malawi versus the Matildas. Says the two winning teams meet each other. That's right. Australia will be playing a second game. And if Matildas win, which I think they're probably favourites to win tonight, then, we'll be playing the winner of India versus Kenya. West Sydney Wanderers, as we start to get closer to the end of this first half, home team here looking to equalise, looking to find an opportunity to grab that equaliser. But Sydney FC have been pretty good in this first half. It's the left-hand side where Wanderers have seemingly been favouring their attacks. Pansanzopoulos playing at left-back tonight has been getting forward on a number of occasions as well. Kraev is over on that left side as well. Marquez says, I thought Lolly would be back by now. Yeah, still out, eh? It's been a tough season for Joe Lolly. He's been struggling with injury. Joe Lolly. When he's in form, one of the best players in the competition. A couple moments ago, Luke asked, how many new head coaches do you see next season? Does Greenacre and Kisnorbo get upgraded to permanent positions? I could see both those happening, yeah. I could see them both happening. Chris Greenacre's done a really good job with Wellington. They're in some good form at the moment. They play Melbourne City tomorrow. Looking for another win. Patrick Kisnorbo. Well, I'll tell you what, if Sydney play finals, as they should do, if Sydney finish in the top 6, which is likely, then I think Sydney FC will probably be keen to keep Kisnorbo around. He has had success in the A-League previously, of course, as well with Melbourne City. Pure Spring Water. What a name. 7-Eleven Pure Spring Water. Says, I always watch the Sydney derby, but got to say, given the current state of Western Sydney Wanderers, it makes it hard to get excited for. Cheers for the commentary, lad. It's basically bang on in sync with the broadcast for me. Oh, that's good to hear. Thanks for the comment, man. Thanks for jumping in the live chat as well. But yeah, I don't blame you. It's obviously tough with Western Sydney Wanderers and where they are right now. Bottom of the league. But look, that should really urge Wanderers on to really make sure next season's huge. Next season is going to be one of the biggest seasons in Wanderers history. How do they respond to, I mean, look, they haven't secured the wooden spoon yet. That isn't locked in. Perth Glory is still in the vicinity. But look, if Wanderers do go on to, unfortunately, claim the wooden spoon, the next season will be huge for them in their rebuilders. Jai Rose clips one to the far post. Away by Grant. And Sydney clear again. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how Wanderers respond for next season. Mr. Pro, who do you think has the highest chance to win the A-League? For the Premiership, it's got to be the Jets. I mean, I think considering today's results, huge day for the Premiership race. It's still Jets with that 3-point lead. 2 games to go. But I think Jets, 3-point lead. That's big, man. I think it'll be enough in the end. In terms of the championship, I mean, that's always so hard to predict. You never know what's going to happen in a final series. I've got a feeling Auckland. The fact that Auckland won the Premier's Plate last season. This season, I'm sure that their ultimate goal was the championship. That's the big one. That's the one you want to win. You want to be there on grand final day, and you want to win it. The toilet seat, of course, as it's affectionately known. The trophy for the A-League Championship. So I feel like Auckland actually might be really up for the final series this year after they were pretty disappointing in the final series last year. Losing at home in the semifinals. As Adstar agrees, yeah, says Auckland maybe for finals. Yeah. Look, I think, yeah, my predictions are Jets secure the Premier's Plate. As a Mariners fan, it hurts me to say, but of course, respect to Newcastle Jets. They've been great this season. But in a final series, look, Newcastle Jets, they haven't played finals in a very long time. They will be going straight through to the semifinals, which is huge for Newcastle. But how will the Jets fare in their first final series in, how many years has it been now? 8 years or something? It's been 8 years since our last in a final series. Can Jets hold on in big finals games? And who will they come up against in the semis? It could be Victory. It could be Adelaide, who they played today. Could even be Sydney FC. Luke asks, have a grand final prediction? Definitely feels like it could be Auckland versus Jets at McDonald Jones Stadium. It feels like the most likely scenario, doesn't it, man? I mean, considering that the Jets and Auckland have been 2 of the top teams this season. Borello with a shot. Oh, what a chance. We'll come back to that grand final discussion. Brandon Borello, did he hit the crossbar there? That was a great shot. We're not too far away from halftime. Ryan Grant just caught on the ball, and Brandon Borello, it did hit the crossbar. Great effort. Borello, a swerving shot with a lot of power on it. Goodness me, that was not too far away at all. But yeah, just to go back to that question there at the grand final. I feel like probably Jets Auckland at McDonald Jones Stadium, which would be a huge occasion for the city of Newcastle. Of course, 8 years since they hosted an A-League grand final where they lost to Melbourne Victory in dramatic circumstances, controversial circumstances. Mr. Pro asks, Lockie, will you be doing a watch along for the F3 derby? Probably not, because I'll probably be there. I'll probably be in this stadium, Mr. Pro. So, which is a big game in a couple weeks' time. It's a huge game. But probably won't be doing a watch along for it because I'll probably be in the stadium. Yes, A-League X. It's a huge blow for Melbourne Victory. Juan Mata out with an injury. Underwent surgery. I believe there was a photo shared online. I think of Juan Mata. He had surgery this week. And we don't know when he's going to return. Juan Mata. We shall see. Marcus, good question. Signing of the season, I would say Cosgrove. He's definitely up there. I mean, he's leading the Golden Boot race. We've got 3 minutes of added time, folks, at the end of the first half. 3 minutes of injury time. Sydney FC lead the Sydney Derby 1-0. Courtesy of a great goal from Al Hassan Toure. But yeah, signing of the season, Cosgrove is definitely up there. Adstar says Cosgrove or Mata. I'd probably say Mata. Yeah, I'd probably say Juan Mata. There's been heaps, though. Max Burgess at Sydney FC. He's been, from Sydney FC at Newcastle Jets. Apologies. Max Burgess at Newcastle Jets. Is definitely up there as one of the signings of the season. Who else? Who else are we thinking of? Lockie Brook at Auckland's been good this season. But yeah, Cosgrove, Mata, Burgess, they're probably all up there. Those are the ones that come to mind. Alrighty. Adstar says Borello never really lived up to the hype. He's had a good career, Brandon Borello. Socceroo. And when he signed for Wanderers a few years back, his first season at Wanderers, he was great. He was really, really good. But yeah, he's struggled to have the same impact in the last couple of years, unfortunately, for Brandon Borello. And it's been a bit of time now since we've last seen him in a Socceroos jersey as well. Going back to those best signings of the season, Luke mentions Burgess for Newcastle too. He was instrumental in the Jets for the Jets in that cup run. Yep. Yeah, and he's been great in midfield this season for Newcastle. League access Mata 100%. Yeah, I mean it's great seeing one Mata, just even from a neutral point of view, great seeing one Mata flourish in the A-League. And look, Wanderers, who are currently trailing in the Sydney Derby. Juan Mata was at Western Sydney Wanderers last season and wasn't really part of the team much. He was coming off the bench here and there. And it's a real shame because you see now what Juan Mata is doing at Melbourne Victory. He's playing that attacking midfield role that he didn't get the opportunity to play at Wanderers, and he's a class player, man. Sydney FC with a late set piece. Wanderers defend it. Quite possibly the last chance of the half. Toure on the ball. Goes short for Kispe. Wanderers, with everyone back, looking to hold on at the end here of the first half. And it'll be a corner. A corner for the Sky Blues to finish off the half. Adstar says it's probably best to wait for the final series to happen in regards to deciding signing of the season. Fair enough. Yeah, good shout, Blinkus. Says Redders was a good signing for the Mariners. Redders has been very, very good for Mariners this season. Garuccio's in swinger at the end of the first half. Stamatolopoulos trying to get to it at the near post, but it's gone up for a goal kick. Marcus asks, what happened to Parech Cullen? Still on the bench at Mariners, but yeah, with Redmayne playing week in, week out, Parech Cullen's been sitting on the bench this season. So it is half time in the Sydney Derby, folks. Western Sydney Wanderers 0, Sydney FC 1. It's Al Hassan Toure who grabbed the goal for the Sky Blues. A lovely goal too. Well taken strike. So half time, 1-0 to Sydney FC. What do you guys make of that first half? Let me know. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button, support the channel. You can also consider sending in a super chat to support Oz Watch Football. Talking all things Australian football. A-Leagues, Matildas, Socceroos, and we're covering two of those things tonight, A-Leagues right now. And we are staying live right here on this live stream for the Matildas game, which I can tell you is kicking off in half an hour. So pull out your other screens, get the phone up, get the TV, whatever you got, get your old iPad out, get the multi-screen setup, because there's a lot of football going on tonight. It's been a big day, actually, of football. Let's in just a moment we'll have a look at the round so far. If you guys have any questions or any comments regarding anything Australian football, jump in the live chat, join the conversation. But first of all, actually, let's take a look at the stats and things from this game so far. A couple of yellow cards for Wanderers: Kankar, Pantazopoulos, and Borello, all on yellow cards. For Sydney FC, Ben Garuccio, he is playing left back, in fact, tonight. Ben Garuccio is on a booking. Toure with a goal for Sydney FC. Let's check out these stats. This is just coming from Google. Western Sydney Wanderers, 5 shots, 3 on target. But those shots on target have been pretty much straight at Devonish Mears. He hasn't been bothered too much. Sydney FC, 7 shots, 3 on target. And a bit more possession as well. So, yeah, look, Sky Blues haven't necessarily been like absolutely dominating, but you'd definitely say that Sydney FC have been the better side. They've been defensively pretty good as well, Sydney FC. Couple of shaky moments, but overall they've been pretty good. Alrighty. Yeah, that's right, Mr. Pro. The multi-screen setup. Love it. Oh, big question from A-League X. What player do you see moving for the biggest fee at the end of the season in the A-League? Good question. Great question. Look, a few that come to mind. I think Hayne Eames from Mariners. There's been a lot of speculation around him and whether he could get a big move away and could be for a big fee. Who are some other young players who might secure a move away? I mean, you look at Newcastle Jets, Eli Adams, Clayton Taylor, Will Dobson. I mean, Lockie Bayless. I'm sure some of these guys might be attracting some interest from overseas clubs. I wouldn't be surprised at all. We know Lockie Rose is already departing the A-League next season to join Dundee United in Scotland. That deal has been confirmed. That is for next season. But yeah, I think you look at Newcastle Jets, and I'll probably go for one of those guys. Speaking of Lockie Rose, Mr. Pro asks, what do you think of Lachlan Rose moving? I think it's an exciting move for Lockie Rose. It's interesting. Just a couple of years ago, he wasn't even the starting striker at MacArthur. He was the backup striker at MacArthur. Went to Newcastle Jets a couple of years ago, and I mean, this season he's been great. He's scoring goals. He's been in good form, and I think it's great to see a player like Lockie Rose get an opportunity abroad over in Scotland. Luke says Eli Adams might move for a big fee. Wouldn't surprise me. Marcus reckons this game ends 2-0 to Sydney. I could see it happening. Yeah. Sydney FC should be able to see it out from here, I reckon. Blinkers also says Sydney have been the better team so far. They should go on to win without a big change. There we go, Blinkers. On the same wavelength. Interesting comment. Adstar says, if Newcastle wins the premiership, which they are very close to doing, and the finals, other teams will raid the players and the team will be stripped of their best players. Yeah. I mean, that's always going to be the case, especially in the A-League. When you succeed, you're going to attract some interest from other teams all across the world. But it reminds me of what happened with Central Coast Mariners, not to, relate Newcastle Jets to their rivals, Central Coast Mariners. But if you remember, the Mariners won the A-League Championship in 2023. Had some big players leave the club the following season, the likes of Sammy Silvera, Jason Cummings, Benny Nkololo, James McGarry left, Nectar Triantis left after that season. Probably some others I'm forgetting as well. So Mariners had all those players leave. The next season, not only did they win the championship again, they won the treble. So it has been shown in this league that if you get recruitment right, if you plan things correctly, you can have sustained success. Sydney FC have shown it. Melbourne Victory have shown it at times. Wanderers showed it in their early seasons. Wanderers win the grand final in 2013, 2014, 2016. So, yeah, if Newcastle do indeed go on to win silverware this season, you'd expect players to depart the club. But, it'll be interesting to see how they respond for next season. Luke asks, says here, a lot of the Jets starting 11 are on the last year of their contracts, apparently. Natta, Bayless, Taylor, Gibson, Aquilina. Maybe that is the feeling, Adstar. Adstar says, so Newcastle has to get their silverware this year because next year they will lose their better players. I mean, they've been so great all season, Newcastle Jets. So, yeah, I'm sure they'll be hoping to go on and secure that silverware. Alrighty. Matildas game is kicking off in under half an hour. We'll be talking about that one as well. We'll be doing the multi-screen setup here to watch both games in just a moment when it kicks off. 1-0 to Sydney FC in the Sydney Derby. Thanks, guys, for joining us tonight on your Saturday evening or Saturday morning/afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from around the world. Let's talk about some of the other games this round, shall we? Last night, dramatic game in Gosford. I was at this game. For those who don't know, I am a Central Coast Mariners fan. Round 24 kicked off with Mariners 2, Brisbane Roar 2. Late heartbreak for the Mariners there. Brisbane Roar, dramatic late equaliser. But the highlight of the evening was Jesse Mantell, 18-year-old on starting debut, scoring on starting debut. He was fantastic last night for the Mariners. 2-2 draw as well between Auckland and Melbourne Victory. It was an interesting game, this one. Auckland were, again, a little bit off it. Melbourne Victory were good overall in this contest. But a stunning late free kick from Lockie Brook, rescuing a point there for Auckland, which, dude, was probably very important because if they had lost that game, Auckland, Jets would have been 4 points clear, 2 games to go. Alex says Victory, big point against Auckland. Indeed. Another draw as well between Newcastle Jets and Adelaide. That game wrapped up just prior to the Sydney Derby. Fascinating game, this one. Both teams sort of cancelled each other out. And, I mean, we're talking about it before, some contentious decisions at the end of this game. I think if you're an Adelaide fan, you should be really disappointed with some of the decisions in the end. I think Adelaide scored that second goal and it was disallowed. VAR got involved and said that the ball went out of play before the cross came in. I disagree. Well, I'll tell you what, it's not that I don't disagree. It's just I don't think they had the evidence to overrule it. So I think Reds fans will be very, very disappointed. And on top of that, there was the goal that Jets scored, the late equaliser, was almost disallowed as well for a potential offside. Whether the Newcastle Jets player got a foot on the ball with the cross coming in, but yeah, another big call there. So a 1-1 draw there between Jets and Adelaide. So it's interesting. I mean, both top 2 teams there, Auckland and Jets, failing to win again. Like Auckland and Jets are. I wouldn't go as far to say that they're stumbling towards the finish line, but it hasn't been smooth sailing to finish the season for both those top 2 teams. Sydney FC currently lead the Sydney Derby halftime. And check out tomorrow's games. These will be interesting games. Melbourne City, Wellington, 2 teams. Now, this is a huge game because these two teams are right next to each other on the ladder. And whoever wins this game could well go on to secure finals football. I'll tell you what, if Melbourne City win this game, I think they'll secure finals football. They'll be in a great position. But if Wellington win, goodness me. I mean, a month, even just a month ago, I don't think we expected to see Wellington this close in the finals race, but they're certainly in with a chance. The round finishes off with Perth Glory versus Macarthur. It's a big game for the Bulls in particular. Perth Glory, it's looking very unlikely that they'll play finals this season. They're got a mountain to climb. And for the Bulls, they are in with that finals hope as they've got their finals hopes up as well after a win against Newcastle last week. So can they back it up with a win away to Glory? Will be a tricky game for the Bulls, I reckon. So those are tomorrow's games. These kickoff times that you're seeing here as well are Australian Eastern Standard Time, folks. Where's the sun gone? Well, I missed daylight savings already. All right. Okay. Luke asks, what's your game of the season? I'd go for Jets 4-5. Jets, yeah. Oh, dude, that game was crazy. Wasn't that Boxing Day? That was Boxing Day, wasn't it? Day after Christmas. A 5-4 win for MacArthur over Jets. Probably his game of the season. Yeah, it's probably the one that comes to mind. Trying to think of some others now. Probably is that one. Yeah. Adstar says Wellington is coming to good form at the right end of the season. Yep. That's right, Mr. Pro. Also, Mrs. Daylight Savings. Marcus says, if these two teams keep drawing, is there a chance for Sydney, Adelaide victory to jump Jets or Auckland? Great question, Marcus. Let's transition over to the ladder. Where's our ladder? Let's find our ladder. It is a good question. I think there is still a slim possibility. We'll pull up the A-League ladder in just a second here. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the current A-League standings live ladder with the second half in the Sydney Derby just a moment away. So, looking at the top here, where's our points? Let's zoom out a bit here. There we go. So, Newcastle Jets, top of the A-League men's ladder right now, 44 points. Auckland just behind them, 41 points. 3-point gap. Adelaide could still finish in the top two. But the only team that are capable of catching Newcastle now is Auckland. Adelaide, with that draw today, I mean, if Adelaide had won this game, that would have been interesting. That game today. But as you can see, they're now a 7-point gap between Adelaide in third place and Jets top of the table. Sydney FC. Now, this current win, if Sydney FC hold on to this win here, as you can see, Sydney FC up into fourth place for 37 points. There you go. Melbourne Victory would just slip down to fifth place there, 36 points. But as you can see, their victory would be, 4 points ahead of City. But Melbourne City play tomorrow. Dude, it's so tight that, I mean, it feels like the top two probably will be the top two at the end. Adelaide could catch Auckland, but I think Auckland will see it through to finish at least first or second. But so much can change. I mean, City could even finish further up into the top six if they keep up with the wins. MacArthur in the conversation. Wellington play City tomorrow. Mariners still have final hopes. Mariners are just 3 points outside the top six with 2 games to go. And for Brisbane Roar, they're still in mathematically, aren't they? Oh, no, that they can't because, with Wellington and Melbourne City, regardless of what the result is, that would put Brisbane out of finals contention. Yes. Maths, folks. All right, the second half is underway in the Sydney Derby. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us for our live watch along tonight. It's a big one because not only are we doing a live watch along for the Sydney Derby, we are also staying live for the Matildas game, which I'm actually excited for. I mean, it's sort of a new era for the Tillies after the Asian Cup. After the Asian Cup wrapped up a few weeks ago. Full focus now is on the World Cup 2027, which is taking place in Brazil. And Australia, of course, we're in the final 4 of the previous World Cup. So, the journey to the 2027 World Cup begins for the Tillies. Luke, I remember that. Yes, in that 5-4 game between MacArthur and Jets. Yeah, that was one of the more bizarre celebrations I think I've seen in the A-League. We love the A-League, folks. We love the A-League. We're into the second half. Gyros on the ball, cutting in. He went for the shot, but his own teammate, Borello, tried to collect possession for himself. So, I think the big question here is how do Western Sydney Wanderers respond in the second half? Look, Wanderers looking to avoid the wooden spoon, man. If they lose here, look, it's not confirmed if they lose here. It will not be confirmed. But, well, actually, it could be really tough for them. If Perth Glory win tomorrow, if Wanderers go on to lose tonight, and if Perth Glory win tomorrow, 105-point gap because you got Brisbane on 26 points. So for Wanderers, they need to make a comeback here. Otherwise, they could be staring down a first ever wooden spoon for Western Sydney Wanderers. This club who made 3 grand finals in their first 4 seasons. This club who had one of the best atmospheres in their stadium in their home games in their early seasons. And still a really good atmosphere at CommBank Stadium in recent seasons as well. But of course, it was those early seasons where they really did show up with some huge crowd numbers. They have fallen to last place as things stand. Sydney FC, a win will lift them to 4th on the ladder and will be an important win for them. Sydney FC heading into this game, 4 matches without a win. So this is an important game here. Important second half coming up for the Sky Blues. Ufuk Talay leaving the club a couple weeks ago. Dramatic storyline there. And of course, Ufuk Talay heading to Western Sydney Wanderers for next season. We did see a change at the break as well. Phil Kankar off. Alex Gersbach on. So that has seen Anthony Panzanzopoulos shift from left back to centre back. Gersbach is now over at left back. Alrighty, folks. Make sure you click on that like button if you haven't done so already. Appreciate you guys joining us here for your Saturday evening. Big watch along tonight. Sydney Derby, Matildas. Time check. Matildas game kicks off in about 12 minutes. Yep. I mean, Luke, I agree with you. It says on paper, West Sydney Wanderers should be near the top. What on earth has happened? Yeah, man. I mean, if you guys saw my ladder prediction from 7 months ago now, who did I predict to finish top of the table? Western Sydney Wanderers. Where are Western Sydney Wanderers right now on the table? They are last. Once again, the A-League is the most difficult league to predict. But Luke, as you say, on paper, they should be near the top. They've got one of the strongest sides on paper that they've had in many years, in my opinion. You're bringing in quality A-League experience in, Ugarkovic, Thurgate coming in. You got Costa Barbarousis, who's a proven goal scorer in the A-League. I mean, they had a really, really strong team heading into this season. So it's really disappointing to see the way that they've struggled this season. It just never got clicking for them. Sydney coming forward. But Wanderers have numbers back to deal with it. That's right. Okay. "51 minutes into this Sydney derby. It's still just a 1-goal lead for Sydney FC. It'll just take one moment for Wanderers to flip the script. Out of possession, Wanderers setting up in somewhat of a 4-4-2 kind of setup. Angus Thurgate appears to be playing a little bit higher up the park, almost alongside Brandon Borello, with Ugarkovic and Shikluna playing a little bit deeper, which is a little bit of a change from what we've seen previously from Western Sydney Wanderers. Mr. Pro, it's an interesting question, and I have been asked this before. As Sydney FC earn themselves a corner. But I do like answering it because I don't have a second favorite team. I know some people do, and if you do, that's fine. But I'm very much a strong believer that you have one team and that's it, and your full focus is on that, and you stay committed to that team. And I've been born and raised a Central Coast Mariners fan, and they are forever my team. And yeah, so I can't say I have a second favorite team. Look, maybe if the Mariners, for whatever reason, hopefully this never happens, but if for whatever reason Mariners didn't exist anymore, then maybe I would have to look at another team to support. I don't know who it would be though. Wouldn't be Newcastle, I can tell you that much. That would be impossible. Alrighty. I'll tell you what, if I'm a Sydney FC fan, I'm wanting my team to get another goal. I know Sky Blues are probably on top. It hasn't been dominant from Sydney FC, but feels like as this game goes on, Wanderers are going to start to find some more opportunities. They've got some attacking players on the bench tonight, Western Sydney Wanderers, the likes of Costa Barbarouses and Hiroshi Iwasuki. So the Sky Blues need to find a second goal, and they're getting close. So I'm very curious to see how this second half plays out. Who is going to take control? Western Sydney Wanderers. It looks like Crive and Rose have swapped wings on the first half. Rose was on the right, Crive on the left. Those guys have now swapped wings. So Western Sydney Wanderers playing out from the back. Shikluna picking his pass to find Crive in the pocket. Let's see what Wanderers can offer us up here after 54 minutes of football. The Matildas game is just around the corner from kicking off as well. You can watch that if you're in Australia. You can watch it on Paramount Plus. There's a chance now for Sydney. Work on Exler driving through the middle of the park with a lot of space. Good run. Great chance. In the box, Sydney. Stamatolopoulos. Well, not sure what that was. It was a cross shot. Then it goes out of play. And make sure to pull up your multi-screens. Get your other devices out if you've got them. Because as we speak, the Matildas are currently walking out onto the field of play with Malawi. That game taking place in Nairobi, Kenya. The Matildas, the players, currently walking out on an athletics track to take the field of play. And meanwhile, in the Sydney derby, after 55 minutes, Sky Blues with another corner. Garuccio with another in-swinger. Wanderers able to clear it away. That's right, Pro. It is Tilly's time. Australia taking on Malawi. First game following the Asian Cup. It's good to see on the broadcast as well. The number of Australian fans in the stands. See some Matildas merch, some signs on the broadcast. Alhassan Toure looking for a second goal. Oh, great run. Pantazopoulos just halts his progression though, but Alhassan Toure scored a lovely goal in the first half. He's looking for another. Oh, Marcus, it's the big question, isn't it? Are we seeing a Canberra team for the 27-28 season potentially? Hopefully, right? I mean, we don't know for sure, but hopefully. There's obviously been, people talking about it, news articles about it in recent years. And it feels like if there's going to be another A-League expansion team in the men's competition, it feels like it'd probably be Canberra. And hopefully it is soon, man. Hopefully it is soon. It feels like it's probably unlikely it'll be for next season. If it was for next season, we probably would have heard something by now, I reckon. But yeah, maybe the year after that, we'll see. We'll see. Blinkers. Sorry, I just missed your comment a moment ago. When it comes to the Asian club comps, I'm fairly biased to any random A-League club. Yeah, dude, I'm the same. Like when it comes to seeing the Australian clubs play in the AFC competitions, we want to see them do well. And of course, as we know, if the Aussie teams do well, it means we can get more spots in those AFC competitions. So we want them to do well, so that your club can get there one day as well. All righty. Luke as well. Sorry, just missed this question a moment ago as well. Has there been any news about the new Central Coast Mariners owners? The new APL boss said that there would be an answer in March. Yeah, we haven't seen anything for a while. A couple of weeks ago, there was some news articles in the media talking more about QPR. And there was even an article from, who was it? Was it Code Sports, I think? Might be remembering that incorrectly, but I think it might have been Code Sports who was reporting that NRL club, rugby league club, Wests Tigers may even well be involved. Here's a chance for Wanderers have scored. We'll come back to that discussion later. Bojana Crive has just equalised. For Western Sydney Wanderers, it's 1-1. Well, here we are rambling about the Central Coast Mariners, my team, but Western Sydney Wanderers have found the back of the net. And it's Bojana Crive, who has been in some decent form in recent weeks, to be fair, man. He's been looking all right. The Bulgarian, the cross initially came in from Steven Ugarkovic. A header flicked on. Great save. What a save it was initially. Brandon Borello's header. Was it a save or was it the crossbar? I'll tell you what, I don't think Devonish Mears actually saved that. It hit the crossbar, but first to react, Bojana Crive. Actually, no, I apologize to Harrison Devonish Mears. That may well have been a save. And a great save it was initially. But Sydney FC unable to follow up on the rebound. Borello, fantastic header. Did well to direct it goalwards. Yeah, dude, apologies to Harrison Devonish Mears. That was a fantastic save. It was a great save. It did hit the woodwork. It was tipped onto the bar. But Kraev, the first to react. Marcus says, going to get ruled out. It hit his hand. Actually, yeah, there's a VAR check for possible handball. Wow. Dude, I didn't see it. I missed that. What do you guys reckon? Blinkers asking about handball as well. Well, Daniel Elder, factual review. Wow, no goal, folks. Well, what a huge moment in this Sydney derby. Wanderers thought they had the equaliser. Let's look at the replays. Oh, did it? I don't know, dude. Did that hit his hand? Oh, it did. Oh, it did. Yeah. There's one particular angle that shows it bouncing off his hand. Yeah, yep. Correct call, folks. Correct call. I don't think you can have any complaints about that. Correct decision. And yes, it was a very big decision. Huge moment. But I don't think we can disagree with that. It clearly hit his arm. It was well away from the body. It was up in the air before strike. It looked like it hit the sort of came off his wrist and then onto his head into the goal. So, yeah, man, I think that's a fair call. Alrighty. While all that's been happening, the national anthems have been sung at the Matildas game and kickoff is about to happen. So we are going to be watching two games at once, which we have done before here on the channel at times. So this will be fun. Two games at the same time. Malawi taking on... I was going to try and see if we can get both things running. We'll have to get scores of both games up. So, big night for football fans in Australia. 2 games simultaneously. We're into the final half an hour of the Sydney derby, and it's the Sky Blues who still have that 1-goal lead. And the Matildas are about to kick off against Malawi. And we will be staying live, even after the Sydney derby finishes, we'll be staying live to watch this Matildas game. The match being played in Nairobi in Kenya, and kickoff there. Australia playing Malawi. Here's a chance for Sydney. Touré's away down the right. Can they find goal number 2? Good shots, Arslan. It was a good save by Thomas to match it. So very curious to see how Tilly's fare in this game. I think it's fair to say that Australia are probably favourites in this match. But what will we see different from Australia in this game? Is Joe Montemurro going to tweak things? Obviously, this is the beginning of World Cup preparations for next year. It's a very, very strong lineup that Australia are deploying in this game. Looks like it is indeed Torpy, Rule, Heatley, and Nevin across that back 4 for Australia. Claire Wheeler, Chidiac playing in midfield. Van Egmond appears to be playing that attacking midfield role. And then how about Australia's front 3 tonight? Experience and class. Rasso, Kerr, Ford. Full strength team tonight for Australia, pretty much. At least with the players we have available, I should say, of course. Matildas without a number of key personnel for this window, but that's okay. Luke says Crive has been arguably Wanderer's best player. Yeah, he's looked the most likely going forward, hasn't he? Yeah. So Western Sydney Wanderers are preparing a triple change and a very attacking change too. That's right. As Marcus says, he's shot of class. Fraser, Ninko Barbarousis Ibusuki. Yeah, of course, former Sydney FC player. Miloš Ninkovic, part of the coaching staff at West Sydney Wanderers. Here comes Sydney. Shot goes wide from Arslan. So, subs on the way here. Wanderers. Check this out. So, Brandon Borello's coming off. Hiroshi Ubasuki's coming on. Hasn't had too many minutes at Wanderers since arriving mid-season. Gyro's also coming off the field of play. He's worked hard tonight. And Steven Ugarkovic also coming off. So Ryan Fraser's on to replace Rose on the wing. Barbarousis on as well. So that would probably suggest that Božidar Krajev may well play in a central position. We'll keep an eye on how things actually shape up in this Wanderers attacking setup now. Ibasuki's leading the line for them, though. Fraser out on the left. Looks like Barbarousis may well be taking up a position on the right side of the attack. And, of course, we are keeping an eye on the Matildas game, which is 3.5 minutes in. Ibasuki's header. Looking for an instant impact. Couldn't quite get the power on it, though. Sydney FC haven't made a change yet, have they? Western Sydney Wanderers. Well, they've made 4 changes now. They made that triple sub a moment ago, but of course at halftime. Oh, bad giveaway. Here's a chance for Fraser. Ryan Fraser with the blocked shot, but it was Paul Okonengsler who coughed up possession there at the back. Oh, it is a goal for the Tillies. Mr. Pro, I looked away for a moment. Australia lead. Less than 5 minutes on the clock, and Emily Van Egmond, I'll have to rewind to catch that goal. I was watching the Sydney derby, ball over the top, and Emily Van Egmond scores. After 5 minutes, the Matildas lead in Kenya, where this game is being played in Nairobi, taking on Malawi today. One 0 Emily Van Egmond with a goal. Great start for Australia. Good ball over the top, and Emily Van Egmond threw on a goal. How about that? So, changes for Sydney FC. Back to the Sydney derby as well. Akola Khan on for Al Hassan Toure. Reece Yuli is also on as well. Reece Yuli replacing Wataru Kamijo in the center of the park. Kamijo's had a good game. Great setup for that goal for Sydney FC. Providing the assist for Toure. G'day, Kelsey. For the Matildas game, you can watch on Paramount Plus. I don't believe it's on free-to-air Channel 10. Could be mistaken. Someone let us know in the live chat, but I am watching the Matildas game on Paramount Plus. Hayley Rasso was, on the receiving end of a very, very strong challenge there from the defender. Hayley Rasso, who stayed down after that tackle as well. Back to her feet now, which is good to see. But Hayley Rasso, almost away down the right for Australia. Meanwhile, there's a player from Malawi who's currently receiving treatment. So we are watching 2 games at the moment, folks. Thanks for joining us tonight, keeping you guys up to date in regards to everything happening in the A-League men's tonight. In the Sydney derby, the Sky Blues lead 1-0 after 70 minutes, but Wanderers are on the attack. Fraser's cross, away by Popovic, then by Yuli. Can the Sky Blues hold on to 3 points? It'll be a big 3 points to help them. It will really help put them in a comfortable position in the top 6. But if they were to lose this game, it would all of a sudden get really nervy for them in regards to whether they'll be playing finals football. Just missed this comment from Luke a moment ago. This question. Does Fraser stay at Western Sydney Wanderers next season? He supposedly wants to move. Look, I think if you're Western Sydney Wanderers, you're probably wanting Ryan Fraser to stick around. He's been great. He's been very, very good. I remember when he came on for his A-League debut and scored a fantastic goal. He's obviously a quality player. So hopefully he sticks around, I think, if you're a Wanderers fan. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I did see something about that as well online, hey. But we don't know for sure, I guess. So we'll wait and see what happens come the end of the season. Wanderers, I think we could probably well expect a fair number of players to depart Western Sydney Wanderers in the off-season. Here comes Ocon for Sydney, the substitute. Kryev getting back to do the defending. Bojda Kryev found the back of the net, but a disallowed goal because of the handball. Now, Western Sydney Wanderers still trail, still looking for that equaliser. Of course, Wanderers, they cannot play finals this season, but they do desperately want to avoid that wooden spoon, of course. Meanwhile, 10 minutes have ticked by in the Matildas game, folks. 10 minutes. And Australia lead Malawi 1-0, courtesy of a goal from Emily Van Egmond. Strong lineup tonight for Australia. Sky Blues going long, looking for a con again down the right side. Taking it to the corner. And winning a corner too. There you go. Good work from substitute Akol Akon against Alex Gersbach. As Thiago Quintal is getting ready to come onto the field of play. Luke says, I still love that GVE rant from last month. Here's a chance for Kerr. Almost in behind there, Sam Kerr. Australia looking for goal number 2. Good run from Sam Kerr. So, Garuccio to take another corner here for Sydney FC. Goes short this time here, Garuccio. Shaking it up a little bit from the set piece. Towards the far post. Just ahead of everyone. Decent idea, though. Marcus says Herman Ferreira set to join Victory. I haven't seen that. That'd be interesting. He's been one of the best centre backs in the league this season, Ferreira, despite Melbourne City being mid-table at the moment, just in sixth spot at the moment. Yeah, man, Herman Ferreira has been very, very good. Stamatolopoulos for Arslan. Just got the pass wrong. Couldn't find a teammate in the box. 12 minutes ticking by now in the Matildas game. 1-0 lead. Hope you guys have got the rocking the multi-screen setup right now. Got all the different devices in front of you. Really appreciate you being here for this live watch along. Busy night in Australian football. Big day in the A-League as well. And of course, it's always a big occasion when the Matildas are in action. Wanderers win a free kick here. In the forward half, after 75 minutes have ticked by now in the Sydney derby. So there's still plenty of time in this game for Wanderers to make somewhat of a comeback here. But Carluccio fouled by Yuli. So a free kick on the way as Arslan is leaving the field of play to be replaced by Thiago Quintal. Thurgate's delivery from the free kick, unable to find a teammate, but Grant wanted to head it out for a corner. So, another set-piece opportunity coming up for the Wanderers. Here we go. Thurgate to deliver. Angus Thurgate. Delivery's all right too, but there was no one at the near post for Wanderers. They were all queuing up at the back post, but it felt like there at least should have been one person towards the near post attacking that. Sydney FC. Looking to see out this Sydney derby. 1 goal lead. Narrow margin. Is it enough? Let's look at that ladder, that live ladder again. Wanderers would remain in last position with this result. And for Sydney FC, they would jump up to 4th spot on the ladder. 37 points, level on points and goal difference with Adelaide United. And I'll tell you what, with a couple games to go, Sydney FC mathematically, if this result does stay as it is, Sydney FC could still finish 2nd. So Adelaide, Sydney, Victory, all still have a chance to finish 2nd on the ladder, to finish ahead of Auckland. As we know, that top 2, it's so important to finish in that top 2. Because it means you get to miss out on the elimination finals. You go straight through to the semi-finals. And it guarantees that you do host a final, obviously with the 2-legged semi-finals there. So the Sky Blues, this would be a really valuable win for them. Not just because it's a Sydney derby, of course, but just to settle things a bit. As we know, Sydney FC, I mean, it's got the form here as well. You can see here before this game, Sydney FC, 4 games without a win. Couple losses there as well. So the recent form hadn't been great. So this it feels like a really, really important opportunity here for Sydney FC. Wanderers with another free kick coming up though. Thurgate to deliver again towards the centre. Bit of a collision. Oh, collisions all over the place in the box. But ultimately, this goes out of play. G'day, Boston. Thanks for jumping in, mate, to say, hey, welcome, welcome. "17 minutes have gone by in the Matildas game as well. Australia 1, Malawi 0. Australia seemingly in control of that game there, with a lot of possession. Luke with the comment here says, after that Jets game and the Maya situation, there needs to be harsher concussion protocols. Dobson coming off due to a concussion that happened 20 minutes prior. Yep, and we can talk about Sebastian Esposito from last week as well. Similar situation. And the commentators were talking about it as well, rightly so. Yeah, it's a concern. You just, for the welfare of the players, man. Here's a chance for the Matildas. Let's come back to that conversation. Sam Kerr with a chance, but good defending there by Malawi. Action in the Sydney derby as well. Akola Khan on the follow-up. And a second chance. Wow, what an opportunity. Akola Khan so close to finding a second goal for the Sky Blues. Great opportunity. Got two opportunities too as well. In quick succession. Couldn't find the back of the net, unfortunately. But yeah, just to go back to that comment there. Yeah, I don't know what they would need to change necessarily, but yeah, they would have to sort out something, have some sort of some ruling when it comes to, potential concussions, just for the welfare of the players. Marcus says, feels like at the moment there are A-League men's youngsters becoming superstars and A-League men's youngsters transitioning to NPL. Not great, but it's because every squad is so young. Mr. Pro there, going back a moment ago with his comment saying, if Auckland have one draw or loss and the Jets win both games, they're out of the premiership race. Yeah, I mean, Jets are close now to securing the premiership. 3 points clear with 2 games to go. Love to hear it, Boston. Hope you had a good day, mate. Yeah, there are lots of fouls at the moment. Wanderers have had a series of free kicks. Pantenzopoulos going for goal, but he's wide of the mark. And the free kicks have been getting closer and closer as well. That one was within shooting range, but Pantenzopoulos just too far, too high. The elevation was, way off. Sydney FC fans love it on the broadcast. 20 minutes have ticked by in the Matildas game as well. 1-0 to Australia, courtesy of Emily Van Egmond. It was a crucial miss indeed. That was a great opportunity from that free kick for Western Sydney Wanderers. Final stages of this Sydney derby. Quintal feeding it through for Stamatolopoulos. And there is the second goal for Sydney FC. Lovely play from the Sky Blues. They break through and look at those celebrations. Sydney FC love it. It's 2-0. And Stamatolopoulos has been looking dangerous all night, to be fair. And now, finally, he makes the breakthrough. And they celebrate in front of the Cove, Sydney FC. And at the home ground of their rivals, Western Sydney Wanderers, CommBank Stadium. Long ball over the top. And it's just poor defending. It's really, really poor defending from Western Sydney Wanderers. Quintal off the bench. And that's a beautiful assist as well. And great finish. I mean, Lawrence Thomas rushing out there, but Stamatolopoulos just lifting the ball. Had to get it right. And that's a beautiful finish from Apostolos Stamatolopoulos. Stammer time. Yeah, it certainly feels like that's job done for Sydney FC. 2-0 now in the derby. Meanwhile, the Matildas, just a moment ago, coming very close to a second goal. Ball played across the face of goal. Almost tapped home. Australia still looking for goal number 2. 22 minutes in. The Sydney derby, not too long to go now. We'll be staying live, of course, for the Matildas game. Still a long way to go in that one. Australia 1, Malawi 0. Well, Stamatolopoulos scoring that goal is his final involvement in this game. Apostolos Stamatolopoulos leaving the field of play, and Pat Wood is on for the remaining 5 minutes plus stoppage time. So, Sydney FC in a very comfortable position now. 2 goals, one either side of half-time. Western Sydney Wanderers, man. I mean, they thought they had the equaliser not too long ago. Disallowed due to handball. And the Sky Blues. Well, it just felt like Sydney FC were going to win this game in the end, didn't they? They haven't necessarily been dominating. Western Sydney Wanderers have had some good set-piece opportunities. Those free kicks. Unable to find the goal. And Sky Blues feel like they are sailing to 3 points. Matildas have a free kick after 24 minutes. Van Egmond swinging it in. Header is blocked and Malawi clear. But Matildas creating a good number of chances in this game. Not long to go now in the Sydney derby. 87 minutes played. Time is running out for West Sydney Wanderers. I mean, the season has been fizzling out for the Wanderers, but of course, Sydney Derby, you want to make sure you win against your rivals. You want to make sure, like for West Sydney Wanderers, the hope here was that they would beat Sydney FC and that it, really put a dent in their finals chances. I mean, Sydney FC still in the top 6. Even if they would have lost, they would still be in the top 6, of course. But it would have made things tricky for them with a couple games to go. Watchalong looking to go for goal. And he's won his side a corner again. So the Sky Blues finishing strong here in the Sydney Derby. Another disappointing performance from Western Sydney Wanderers. Their poor defending costing them again. Meanwhile, for Australia, Rasso down the right-hand side. Great chance for the Tillies. Oh, dude. Van Egmond just unable to link up with Kerr in the box. Credit to Malawi. There's been a number of, from what I've seen so far, there's been a number of instances where they've defended really, really well. Not making it easy for Australia at all. Australia with just that 1-goal lead against Malawi after 26 minutes. That corner for Sydney FC didn't result in a goal for them. Lawrence Thomas ending up with the ball. 1 minute to go in regulation time in the Sydney Derby. And after this one wraps up, the Sydney Derby will be full focus on the Matildas game. Appreciate you guys joining us for this mega live watch along. Hit that like button. Support the channel. Really appreciate it. Free kick for Sydney FC. Right on the halfway line. Paulo Canengsla has been heavily involved tonight. Here comes the Matildas. Torpy. Going for the cross, a little bit too close to the goalkeeper. Caitlin Torpy was a real standout, I think, in the Asian Cup for Australia. Featuring at left back, playing at right back today. Caitlin Torpy. But she was very impressive coming in and featuring in that left back position, which felt like maybe one of the areas of the park that heading into the Asian Cup, there was maybe a little bit of a question mark around in regards to whether Steph Catley starts there or starts at centre back. We did see Steph Catley initially start at left back in the Asian Cup. But Caitlin Torpy came in for those final games at left back and was very, very good. I remember in that semi-final win against China, she was exceptional. So good to see her get another starting opportunity here, this time at right back, showing her versatility as well. Caitlin Torpy able to play several different positions. Here's Kispe for Sydney FC. 4 minutes of injury time as well in the derby. One of those already played. Man, Western Sydney Wanderers, dude. It's just so disappointing for them. I mean, again, this game they were probably eyeing off for maybe some time now. We've got a Sydney Derby at home. Just win this game. Beat the rivals. But they haven't been up to the same standard as their opponent this evening. I don't think so, Marcus. I didn't see a crowd number on the broadcast. I don't know about you guys in the chat. So let us know if you've spotted the crowd figure for this Sydney Derby tonight. Certainly not a sellout, but of course we should remember the context surrounding this game. Wanderers currently experiencing essentially their worst season in their history. It's not a happy time at Western Sydney Wanderers, but of course there is hope that they can build in this new era under former Sydney FC head coach Ufuk Talay, who is taking over as of next season. That's surely going to be a yellow card for Dylan Chicluna for that foul. Was it not a yellow? Surely it was. So Sydney FC just seeing out this Sydney derby as we speak. Half an hour has ticked by in the Matildas game. 30 minutes. And Australia with a 1-0 lead. Ocon Exler for Sydney FC. They're knocking it around with a lot of joy now, the Sky Blues. Finding a lot of space in the forward half. It's just been, again, another underwhelming performance from Western Sydney Wanderers, unfortunately. But the Sky Blues, this is an important win for them. Their first win in 5 games now? And can the Sky Blues lead themselves into the finals with some good form? Sydney FC, they've got a couple home games to finish off the campaign. Home to Perth Glory and Auckland FC. Look, against Perth, who are towards the bottom of the ladder, you'd expect Sydney to win that game. Auckland, that could be tricky. Auckland, second on the table. So that'll be a big game in the final round of the regular season. No worries, Marcus. Thanks for joining us tonight, mate. Appreciate you tuning in as always. Luke here a moment ago says, if Newcastle win the treble, it'll be the first domestic treble in the history of the A-League. What a story it'd be if rivals were the first to win different trebles types. Yeah, dude, I didn't think about that, Luke. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Hey, it's full time in the Sydney derby. Western Sydney Wanderers losing to Sydney FC. Sky Blues with a 2-0 win. Goals from Al Hassan Toure. And the second goal from Apostolos Stamatolopoulos. Disappointing performance from Western Sydney, man. They just weren't up to it in the end. Thought they had the equaliser through Bozrak Krive in the second half, but pretty clear handball in the end. And Sydney FC, valuable 3 points for them. So folks, full focus now is on the Matildas game. 33 minutes have been played. And it's a 1-goal lead for Australia. And I think it's fair to say, that Malawi have proved pretty tricky to break down at times in this game from what we've seen. So full focus is now on the Matildas game. Big mega watch along tonight. Sydney derby's just wrapped up, if you're just tuning in. Sydney FC 2, Western Sydney Wanderers 0. And that's right, Blinkers. At least it wasn't a draw. Here comes Chudiak for the Tillies. Great chance. Kerr. Oh, my goodness. What an opportunity. Well, it's a rare Sam Kerr miss there. That was a great chance. Sam Kerr, of course, captain of Australia. Leading the line as always. Great chance. Chudiak did well to get him behind. Oh, my goodness. And it was essentially an open goal too. Maybe you could see Sam Kerr stretching there. Maybe the cross could have been just a little bit closer to Sam. But after 34 minutes, that is a great, great opportunity there for Australia. So full focus on the Tillies game. Stick around at half time. We'll talk. We'll have a look at the A-League ladder as well after that Sydney Derby result. We'll have a look at the A-League ladder and see how it's shaping up. Talk about tomorrow's games as well in the A-League. But this is, I was really looking forward to this game for the Matildas because it's coming up against a different kind of opposition. We don't get to play teams from Africa all that often, and it's almost like a bit of a preview of maybe what we could maybe expect in the World Cup next year. Obviously, in the World Cup, you play a variety of countries from around different parts of the world. So it's a good test here for Australia tonight. And again, maybe some people expecting to see a bit of rotation in Australia's lineup. Maybe some opportunities for players who haven't received as many minutes in a Matildas jersey previously. We've got the likes of Izzy Gomez, Letitia McKenna in the squad. Jessica Nash is back as well. That's right, Mr. Pro. Yep, around with all draws doesn't exist for now. Sydney FC breaking the trend after the first 3 games in this round were all draws. G'day, Jessica. Jessica says, we need more young people in the Tillies and to give them more opportunities to play so we are ready for the World Cup. And yeah, it's about getting that next, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as saying that next generation, but that next sort of group of players, sort of, 18, 19, 20, 21, that sort of age bracket. Some of these players could well be some of the stars for Australia and at next year's World Cup. And it's great to see the likes of Izzy Gomez, Jessica Nash, Letitia McKenna in this squad for Australia. But the starting 11 for this game, very experienced. Caitlin Ford down the left. Great chance for Australia. A block on the cross. And again, another example of Malawi's really, really solid defending. Getting back in good numbers and shutting down the opportunity. It was Emily Van Egmond who opened the scoring for Australia after just 4 or so minutes. And speaking of Emily Van Egmond, is perfect timing, Jessica says, and no more EVE. Look, I think she still provides a great dynamic in midfield, Emily Van Egmond. And I'm glad that we are seeing her play this attacking midfield position. In the past, sometimes under Tony Gustafsson, we did see Emily Van Egmond play a little bit deeper as a defensive midfielder. I think she's better utilized in that attacking midfield role. She's so great playing those little, cutting passes through the lines and finding teammates in those areas. And it's great to see her that she is sort of playing that attacking midfield role, at least under Joe Montemurro. Not that she didn't play that attacking midfield role at all under Gustafsson, but she did. There were a bunch of games where she was having to play a little bit deeper in midfield. Look, I still think Emily Van Egmond provides a lot to the Matildas squad. Great to have that experience in midfield as well. 3 players in midfield for Australia today. Emily Van Egmond, Alex Chidiac getting a rare start for Australia, and Claire Wheeler as well. Alex Chidiac was in the Asian Cup squad, didn't get much of a look in it all, though. That's a player who's now playing her club football over in Italy. She was with Melbourne Victory previously. Alex Chidiac. But Australia have to defend this set piece now. Malawi haven't had too many set pieces in the game so far. It looks like, decent effort, actually. Shot on target for Malawi from that free kick. But Mackenzie Arnold was behind it. Just talking about Emily Van Egmond here. Luke with a comment here saying she's good as that elder statesman of the Tillies, would be good utilized as a player / coach, basically. Yeah, that's a good way to. That's an interesting way to look at it. I mean, it's great to have someone like Emily Van Egmond to provide that leadership, that experience, and you could compare not that they're not necessarily like similar players, but they could play a similar role. Her and someone like Izzy Gomez, who is sort of at the start of her career in a way. So, Van Egmond could provide that knowledge, that experience, those lessons to someone like Izzy Gomez, who maybe could be that next attacking midfielder for Australia. Or even more so Amy Sayer as well, a player who I think has a lot of potential to be a real star player for Australia for many years to come. Amy Sayer, who could play that attacking midfield role as well. So, the Matildas have a 1-goal lead. It's a narrow lead. And Malawi are looking dangerous at times on the counter-attack. They've got the ball going forward here. And it was Claire Wheeler, I think, who got the crucial slide tackle in. 40 minutes has just ticked by the way, as well, if you're joining us here. And if you're watching this game along as well, 40 minutes just ticking by here. If you want to sync up the live streams. But Australia, maybe at times having a little bit of difficulty finding these clear-cut chances at goal. Van Egmond looking to poke it forward. Sam Kerr's collided with an opposition player. It's play on. Torpy, space for Ford, who's over on the right-hand side now. Caitlin Ford crossing. Keeper hasn't saved it, and it's a goal. Sam Kerr scores. There we go. Well, chaos in the box. Caitlin Ford with a dangerous ball. And it's the Matildas who score. Second goal of the game. It's been coming. It hasn't been easy. Caitlin Ford, who had swapped wings with Hayley Rasso. Ford drifting over to the right-hand side. Found the space. Sam Kerr almost in an offside position. And Malawi just didn't deal with it at the back there. Goalkeeper coming out, but unable to claim it. Sam Kerr, I mean, you can't give Sam Kerr that amount of space in the box. Because when she gets the opportunity, she will take it, as she did there. So, it's the second goal just prior to halftime here. 41 minutes on the clock when that ball went in. Jessica says, would love to see young players in the second half and give Sam, Caitlin, and Rasso a rest. Yeah, I'm sure we probably will see that in the second half, Jessica. I mean, you've got, looking at all those options on the bench, McNamara, McKenna could come on for her debut, Gomez, Sayer, a lot of options there. Remy Simpson as well could feature. So I'm sure we will see plenty of rotation. Maybe even at halftime. I wonder if Joe Montemurro might be tempted to try something different at the halftime break. Because while Australia have been pretty dominant so far in this game, they're probably wanting to create some more clear-cut opportunities for us to score. Winnie Heatley bringing it out from the back. Oh, nice ball over the top. Another great opportunity. Caitlin Ford in behind. Surely, great save. Well, Ford, I think, was in two minds there of whether to cross, whether to square the ball for Sam Kerr, who was in the middle, or whether to go for the goal herself. She went for goals. She went for the goal. And that was a good save by Malawi's keeper as well, hey. Luke here saying McNamara needs to have some minutes, surely. It certainly does feel like that Holly McNamara has the potential, at least, to be that next regular starting striker for Australia. If we are with that, if we are whenever without Sam Kerr through injury or whatever, Holly McNamara, I mean, she featured in some of those games where we were without Sam Kerr a couple of years ago. And, I mean, she's been in incredible form in the A-League Women's competition for a couple of years now, man. She's been fantastic for Melbourne City. And she did finally get her first Matildas goal last year. It was one of Joe Montemurro's first games in charge. It was that first window with Joe Montemurro where McNamara scored her first Australia goal. So, yeah, big fan of Holly McNamara. Very talented footballer. So, free kick for Australia in the forward half. Hayley Raso winning that free kick. Stick around at halftime in this Matildas game. We'll be taking a look at the ladder in the A-League men's at the moment, and it's looking very interesting after that win for Sydney FC in the derby. Oh, there's another goal. No, it's offside. The ball was in the back of the net, but the flag is up as we enter first half injury time. Offside indeed. Caitlin Ford. Thought she teed up Sam Kerr for another goal, but yeah, pretty clearly offside there. Another nice move. And Caitlin Ford's looking dangerous in this game. 3 minutes added on at the end of first half. So Malawi, send it long. How they would love to find a goal back before half-time. Overall, a good first half from Australia. In control, but I wonder what Joe Montemiro's assessment of this first half is. Overall, there's a lot of reasons to be happy, but Malawi have provided a really, really solid test so far. Charlie Rule getting it clear for Australia, but is it a free kick? It is. So, one of the last opportunities here of the first half will be a free kick and a great opportunity in a great area of the pitch for Malawi. It's out in a wide area. But this is a defensive test here for Australia. They've had a couple set pieces so far in the game, Malawi. And this is a crucial moment for them. So, defensive test here for Australia. Oh, great chance, Malawi. Oh, my goodness, so close. And Mackenzie Arnold ends up with it, but goodness me, that easily could have been a goal. Great save from Arnold, says Mr. Pro. And it was a top save indeed. Well, it was like a cross, but it was sort of a shot too. It was direct on goal. I tell you what, it was great reflexes because Claire Wheeler trying to block the cross, deflecting the free kick towards Arnold. Dude, save with the face as well. Mackenzie Arnold, I think, blocked the follow-up shot with a forehead. Oh, my goodness. And as Jessica says here, the brick wall does it again. Wow. I mean, that was chaotic. That was chaotic at the back there for the Matildas. It was certainly an interesting defensive test. But Mackenzie Arnold called into action and did well to stay strong there. But Malawi easily could have scored. Easily could have scored a goal there. Which would have made the second half a little bit more interesting. I mean, 2-1 would have given Malawi a huge opportunity back into this game. But Torpy's in behind now. Cross for Ford. So close, dude. So close. Again, there's been a number of occasions like that where we've gotten in behind down the wing there, and those crosses coming into the far post and just overhitting them a little bit. So maybe we can try and fix up that a little bit. A little bit more precise with some of those deliveries. But overall, it's a good half from Australia. It's a 2-0 lead at the halftime break. What were your guys' assessments of that first half? Join the conversation in the live chat. 2-0 lead for Australia. Goals courtesy of Emily Van Egmond early on. And then late on, it was Sam Kerr who scored yet another goal for Australia. So, half-time in the Tillies game. It's been a big live stream so far. We are staying live for the second half in this game. But we will be having a look at the A-League ladder at the moment. We were just live for watching the Sydney Derby game as well. Sydney FC winning that Sydney Derby 2-0 over the Wanderers. So we're having a look at the A-League ladder. Here's how it currently stands. Actually, we will take a look at some of those matches from the weekend so far as well in just a moment. But if you guys have any comments or questions on anything related to Matildas, A-Leagues, Socceroos, Australian football, jump in the live chat, join the conversation. All right, time to top up the water. I'll be back in just a moment. It is 2-0 to Australia over Malawi, halftime. Thanks for joining us tonight, folks. Hope your Saturday's going well. Hope your weekend's going well. Enjoying plenty of football today. Busy day in the A-League. Check out the ladder, folks. Newcastle maintaining a 3-point lead at the top over Auckland. Draws for both of those teams today. Sydney FC, that Sydney Derby win. Well, initially they were jumping up to 4th, but that second goal in the Derby for Sydney has now sent them to 3rd. How huge is that? That is massive for the Sky Blues, who really needed that win there. Adelaide United drew with Newcastle today. They're in 4th position. Victory drawing with Auckland. They are in 5th position now. So Sydney FC will be very happy that Adelaide and Victory drew today, because it allowed them the opportunity to jump up into 3rd spot on the ladder and still with a chance to even catch the top 2. Well, to at least catch 2nd place. Melbourne City, they play Wellington tomorrow. That's going to be a crazy game tomorrow, man. Wellington 6th. Wellington 8th, City 6th. 2-point gap between those two teams. They play tomorrow. MacArthur, who have got 2 wins in the last 2 games. MacArthur FC play Perth Glory tomorrow. They're still certainly in the finals conversation as well. And you got Mariners who still are in finals contention, despite drawing with Brisbane Roar last night. Brisbane Roar, Perth Glory Wanderers are all out of finals contention now. and currently occupy the bottom 3 spots on the ladder. There you go. All right. Great to see everyone joining us in the live chat here as well. Sandy, 2 goals for Australia. Love to see it. Love to see it. Luke says, days like this reminds me of days where there were Australian Championship and A-League games. Games going all day. Yep. Yeah, it was a whole lot of fun, wasn't it? I mean, it was great to have those days where it was like, it would start at 1 o'clock. It was 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and then 7:30. And then there was probably some days where there was even like a game in Perth, which would kick off at 9:30 on the east coast of Australia. Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit like that, isn't it? That's right, Troy. Mariners, look, we're still in with a chance to make finals. Luke says, if Wellington win, they're in 6th place, and they're certainly in form to get it done. Yeah, I mean, what a huge game. Like Wellington, check out, this is the form here. 3 wins in a row. Where does it come from? Wellington Phoenix. Felt like the season was fizzling out for them. Giancarlo Italiano, head coach, had departed. Maybe a month or so ago now. Chris Greenock coming in and has really rallied this side to 3 consecutive wins here in the last 3 games. Incredible. And dude, if they beat Melbourne City, they're into the top 6, 33 points. Look, the only thing for both MacArthur and Wellington, looking at the ladder here, the only thing that's maybe going to cause a bit of concern is that goal difference. Both MacArthur and Wellington currently with -7. You look at City, -2. So, yeah. Yep. There you go. Mr. Preston, after this game, I've watched 8 hours of football. There we go. Well, what a way to spend your Saturday, mate. Love it. Love it. Troy says, yep, need to give our best against Auckland. Very, very tough game, of course. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it feels like for the Mariners against Auckland, it's interesting, right? Because I was thinking about this. And I know that there was a similar thing in the English Premier League. Was it last season? I think it was. Like if the Mariners are obviously fierce rivals with the Newcastle Jets, look, I want Mariners to defeat both Auckland and Newcastle Jets, and hopefully with 2 wins there can put ourselves into finals contention. But if Mariners might be inadvertently handing the Premier's plate to Newcastle Jets if Mariners were to beat Auckland next round. So that's interesting, isn't it? That is something, isn't it? So, yeah, 2 huge rounds coming up in the A-League as well. Let's look at those matches that are coming up. The matches so far as well. We are currently in round 24. We may as well look at some of the games we've got coming up as well. Still half-time in the Matildas Malawi game. Second half is just around the corner. So 2-2 between Mariners and Raw. 2-2 between Auckland and Victory. Great free kick goal from Lucky Brook to equalise late on there. Newcastle Jets 1, Adelaide 1. Some controversy at the end. Disallowed goal there for Adelaide United, which I don't know about you guys. I didn't agree with the call. And, of course, we just watched Sydney FC defeat Wanderers 2-0. Good performance from the Sky Blues. 2 big games tomorrow. Melbourne City host Wellington, and then Perth host MacArthur. Again, these kickoff times are Australian Eastern Standard Time. G'day, Paul. Paul says Adelaide did so good that game. They were, I would go as far as to say that they were the better team. Just. It was really, Adelaide really evenly matched Newcastle Jets. Again, they were sort of cancelling each other out in that game, I thought. So, yeah. And as Paul says here as well, they have shown they compete with the best. Yeah. Yeah, Adelaide United, a draw last week with Adelaide 1-1, and then a draw this week with Newcastle 1-1. Yeah, they certainly can, the Reds. They've been good this year. Luke says the only time outside of Central Coast Mariners Asian competition where I'll be cheering Central Coast Mariners is next week, says Luke. Yeah, fair enough. Of course, you'll be wanting Mariners to beat Auckland so that Jets can secure the premiership. Yeah, fair enough, Mr. Pro. Yeah. Yep. Always great to see some Newcastle fans in the chat as well. It's always interesting seeing the I guess the variety of A-League supporters in the live chats. So, look, credit to Newcastle Jets. They have been very good all season. Great question, Paul, who asks, what's your final top 6 prediction based off the last 2 rounds? Segues nicely into talking about these last 2 A-League rounds. Second half of the Matildas game is about to kick off. Check it out. I mean, Jets away to victory next Friday. Interesting. Very interesting. Jets away to victory. I mean, that's a tricky one, man. Victory have been good at home in recent weeks. But they did lose to Wellington, actually. Shouldn't forget about that. At home. That might be a draw. Early predictions draw. Wellington host Wanderers. I mean, Wellington are chasing finals. That is a winnable game. Very winnable game for Wellington. Playing that game down in Christchurch, I believe. Brisbane Roar hosts Melbourne City. I mean, Brisbane are the home team there, but you feel like Melbourne City probably favourites in that contest. Sydney probably favourites against Perth next week. Auckland Mariners, man. I mean, we shouldn't forget Mariners went to Auckland previously this season. This is the second trip that Mariners are going to have to Auckland. That game ended in a draw. It was 2-2 from memory, wasn't it? Between Auckland and Mariners in their last matchup. So, I don't know, man. I feel like Mariners, we could get something out of that game. Yeah. Adelaide MacArthur. I think the Reds at home probably will win that game, but you never know with the Bulls. They've been so unpredictable this season. The final round of the season sees Bulls play Wellington. That could be a decider for finals, folks. Goodness me. F3 Derby, beautiful. Look, even if my beloved Central Coast Mariners, even if they are out of the finals race, it would be a beautiful way to end the season to defeat the Jets at their own home ground. But yeah, so cool that there's an F3 Derby to finish the campaign, man. That'll be fun. Wanderers host Victory. Interesting. Perth versus Brisbane. 2 teams who aren't playing finals this season. Maybe 2 teams, more so Perth Glory. Maybe Perth Glory looking to avoid the wooden spoon there, potentially. Sydney versus Auckland. That's a big game to finish the regular season as well. Sydney versus Auckland. I tell you what, dude, that game, Sydney versus Auckland, could be a big game because we'll see what happens in round 25, but this is round 26 we're looking at right now. It could work out that if Sydney FC win that game, they go second and Auckland slip to, third or something. Wouldn't that be something? So, goodness me. I mean, which is hard to imagine. I mean, Auckland have been, so close to sort of, they've been like top 2 for so much of this season. But if Sydney FC, they've got Perth next week, which they should win. And then if Auckland drop points to Mariners, all of a sudden Sydney FC could finish second, which just feels very bizarre. But anyway, that's the A-League for you. And then talk about cracking games, man. Melbourne City Adelaide is the last game in the A-League men's regular season. And that'll be a good game too. Again, that could be, dude, I mean, these last 2 games of the regular season could be like a little preview of what finals could look like. You know what I mean? Luke asks here, Perth and Roar to look for new head coaches next season. Good question. I don't know about that. I feel like if I'm a fan of either of those teams, I'm willing to give their respective head coaches another go. Look, Adam Griffiths came in. Obviously, he took charge in the head coach role early on in the season after David Zrilic left pretty early on. And Michael Valkanis. I feel like if I was a Brisbane Roar fan, I'd want to give Valkanis another season. Like Brisbane started the season really strong, and injuries didn't help them at all. And departures, losing Lucas Harrington was a big blow for Brisbane. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's a good question, Luke. It's a good question. Troy says, I'm definitely going to the F3W with a family. Always enjoy going to McDonald Jones Stadium. Paul says, as it stands, Adelaide will host Victory in an elimination final. Hope it stays that way. Original rivalry in the Elim finals would go crazy, especially at Cooper's. You bet, Paul. Wouldn't that be something? I'd love to see that. Just from a neutral point of view, that'd be a whole lot of fun. And yeah, look at that, Paul. You're right, man. 37 points Adelaide, 36 points Victory. It could end in that way. Dude, what a game. We'll have to make sure we're doing a live watch along for that one if we can. A-League finals just a few weeks away. Hey, folks, is it just me or is this halftime break unusually long? What's the time? Oh, the teams are back out on the fields now. It feels like this halftime break was super long. I don't know. Remy Simpson's entering the field of play, folks. So second half about to get underway. Sam Kerr off, Simpson on. Hopefully there's no injury concern there. I wouldn't think so. Sam Kerr didn't appear to have an injury, but look, it's probably just a matter of resting and rotating players. So I can't imagine there's much in that. But Remy Simpson, big opportunity for her. Again, didn't feature in the Asian Cup despite being in the squad there, Remy Simpson, but talented player nonetheless. Jessica, it's a big question. Do you think the Tillies could win the World Cup next year? Great question. Let's talk about it. As the second half finally gets underway here in Nairobi, Kenya. Everyone, feel free to join the conversation here in the live chat. Jessica asks, do you think the Tillies could win the World Cup next year? Look, okay, so we should talk about the last World Cup finish, semi-finals. Made it to the Final Four. Yes, it was on home soil. Asian Cup, made it to the final, which I think was the expectation for the Asian Cup. Unfortunately, losing to a very good Japan side. Change for the second half hasn't kicked off just yet. Malawi are making a substitution as well. Yeah, so I think we're going to need to see Australia. I think the next year is going to be really interesting to see how we progress. I think the important thing for Australia is going to be lining up friendlies against some top quality opposition. You know, maybe against some opponents from Europe, maybe North, South America as well. I mean, it'll be great for Australia to test themselves against some of the best teams in the world in friendly matches prior to the World Cup. And that'll give us a bit of an idea of where we are at. Previously, when we've come up against those sort of top-class opposition, we haven't really done all that well. Thinking about when we recently faced England, here's a chance for Australia early on in the half. Good tackle. Great challenge at the back there. Malawi denying Hayley Russo. So, look, I'm not going to say that we're not necessarily going to be like in contention to win the World Cup. I'd love to say so. But if we can get some good results in friendly matches over the next year against top nations in world football, then yeah, that may well convince me that we could make another serious charge. Look, I know it was on home soil, but we made the semi-finals. We're in the Final Four at the last World Cup. So we should be aiming for at least quarterfinals. At least quarterfinals. Right? Luke says Matildas should at least match our last World Cup run. Like, that would be a success. If we made it to the Final Four again, that would be huge. That would be huge. Oh, look, I think we can do it. I will say, just like looking at the squad, the players that we have, and also the young players that are starting to, again, come through, we've seen over the last couple of years, and thinking of some of the young players that will get even better by next year for the World Cup. I'm excited, man. There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about the future of the Matildas. I think, look, players like Winnie Heatley has stepped up and is now a key central defender for us. Caitlin Torpy is sort of, has shown, in that Asian Cup tournament that she's a quality fullback now. And even in the squad here for these games, Gomez, Nash, McKenna, and there's, a bunch who aren't even in the squad who could probably be in the mix as well. Yeah. And look, the World Cup squad for next year may look very different to what we've got for this squad. You never know. Very curious to see what happens in the coming months, in the coming year or so. All right. Got some great comments and questions coming in tonight. Luke also said Adelaide and Auckland after last week 100% need to be a new derby. Always seem to be solid, hard-hitting games. Yeah. Every time they play, man, it's fun to watch. We did the live watch-along for that game last week, and yeah, it was intense. Paul says, as an Adelaide fan, I'm secretly hoping we finish 5th and have Melbourne away. Always a great trip down there, especially when we win. But of course, I'll take a game at home anyway. Yeah, man. Dude, Adelaide always bring a really strong contingent of fans away to Amy Park. It's always great to see. So, yeah, very much looking forward to a potential original rivalry matchup in the A-League finals. Yes, Troy Rasmussen. Yes, should be a shout. Yeah, we'll see how she goes at Juventus over the next year or so as well. I mean, Annalise Rasmussen was in top form for the Mariners before departing. And look, as a Mariners fan, would have loved to have seen Rasmussen stick around for the whole season. I think we missed her for the second half of the campaign. But Annalise Rasmussen, again, another one of the sort of the next generation of strikers coming through. Yeah. Yeah, yellow cards everywhere. There was another one just then for a player from Malawi. So, yeah, there's been a number of bookings this game already. Jessica says, I think we need to bring a strong team and play against friendlies like Spain, England before the World Cup. Yep. Spain, England, I mean, yeah, France, USA. Germany, Brazil. Like there's a lot of, we need those friendlies against those quality opposition. The free kick for Australia, cleared away by Malawi. Good defending. They're going to go on the counter-attack here, Malawi. Let's see what happens here. Can Australia get numbers back? Well done, Chidiak. Winning at Hype the Park. Appreciate you guys joining us for this live watch along tonight. We've been live for 2 hours and 43 minutes. Sydney Derby, Sky Blues win that 1-2-0. And now we are into the second half of the Matildas matchup with Malawi. Great test, great opportunity for Australia here to come up against a nation from Africa. Obviously, Matildas in the Asian Confederation, so it really only comes down to the occasional friendly match or World Cup tournaments where Australia get to come up against nations from Africa. Obviously, Australia played Nigeria in the 2023 World Cup. Nigeria were really, obviously a very tricky test for Australia in that game in Brisbane back in 2023. And now taking on Malawi. Long shot as well. Oh, gee whiz. Good effort too. Malawi with a shot. Another effort on target from long range. Mackenzie Arnold had to be switched on there just to keep track of that one. Oh, right. Yes, Troy. You're talking about in regards to that previous comment about the yellow cards everywhere in the Adelaide-Auckland game. True, yes. It was a very heated game, that one last week. Auckland FC. Speaking of cards and Auckland FC, Head coach Steve Corica red carded today. Sent off. Steve Corica, head coach of Auckland FC. Late on in that draw with Melbourne victory. Caitlin Ford on the ball. Sending in a delivery. Good delivery too, but just over the head of Hayley Rasso. Again, just some of these crosses not quite finding their targets. It's been a theme of this game so far. Getting into good areas. Playing in the crosses, but for whatever reason, just there's been a number of deliveries that have just not quite worked out. So, Australia looking for goal number 3. Charlie Rule starting here for Australia. Limited minutes in the Asian Cup for Charlie Rule, but playing her club football over at Brighton in England. Starting at right centre back tonight. Caitlin Ford trying to drive forward, but she runs into the defence. And Malawi again on the counter-attack. It just feels, it feels like we're a couple times like there's a little bit of space opening up at the back. We're committing numbers forward, but Malawi, man, we're going to be ready for these counterattacks. In regards to that Corica red card, Luke says, didn't even see what happened. It all happened during a replay. Can't call Corica anything but passionate. Very passionate Steve Corica. We all always love to see passion in the A-League, of course. But yeah, Steve Corica. Yeah, I remember seeing on the broadcast there was a shot of him having some pretty strong words towards, I'm not sure who it was towards, to be fair. Could have been one of the officials. But yeah, red card for Corica in that game. Hey, Jessica says we need to fix those crosses, deliveries. So happy that Rules and Chidiac get some time. Says bring on Holly, Saya, Nash. Yep. Yeah, hopefully we do see all 3 of those players in this second half. We've already seen one change already at halftime. Sam Kerr off at the break, replaced by Remy Simpson. Hopefully no injury concern. I don't think there would be, but maybe just resting Sam Kerr there. Obviously, it's been a busy schedule for a lot of these players. The Asian Cup only wrapped up a few weeks ago. Australia looking to move forward with a bit more pace now. Van Egmond sending it forward. Finds Simpson. And that's an ambitious pass for Rasso, who just can't get to it. Right idea, though. Just the execution wasn't quite there. So, $55 minutes played, 10 minutes into this first half. Australia 2, Malawi 0. Just a 2-goal lead, a narrow lead it is. Malawi have had some genuine sights on goal. Great chance from a set piece late in the first half, right at the end of that first half. They easily could have scored. Mackenzie Arnold has certainly been involved in this game. And even a shot from long range on target a moment ago as well. So it's important that we just maintain concentration, I think, at the back. Any little slip up, and it feels like Malawi could score. Claire Wheeler in the middle of the park. Australia certainly being patient at times as well, looking to try and find the right opening, the right pass. Malawi, well, that's a bit of space in the middle of the park. And a ball out to the left. Will it be recovered? Yes, it will. In the corner. Oh, that's certainly gone out of play. Will be a goal kick, but another good opportunity. And again, a little bit concerning. Again, just that same thing that I mentioned just a moment ago. A bit too much space opening up. Another change coming up for Australia. Amy Say is coming on. A couple of changes, in fact, for Australia. Troy says, it's also strange to see no Yavi Lopez and Isaias at Adelaide now they've retired. Been there for so long. Yeah, they've been like two iconic players for the Reds, eh? Two iconic players. So two changes in midfield for Australia as we speak. Van Egmond and Wheeler off. Sayer and Kennedy on. So straight swaps there. And Alana Kennedy has also taken the captain's armband. So Kennedy, I mean, what a story it was in the Asian Cup. Alana Kennedy stepping up into that defensive midfield role, which we've seen her play that role a little bit, but she's often been utilised as a central defender for Australia. But she was incredible with her goals, multiple goals in the Asian Cup. She was one of the players of the tournament, Alana Kennedy. And she's on here for the remaining half an hour or so. Amy Sayer also onto the field as well. Amy Sayer, again, we were talking about her a little bit earlier, player who I feel like has the potential to be a real, like one of the next superstars of this Matildas side. Amy Sayer, versatile player, but I think that attacking midfield role, which she is seemingly playing now, is probably one of her best positions. It's probably her best position, I should say. It's definitely the role that I think it best suits her attributes. Oh, Paul, it's a tough question. It's a tough question. Look, as a Mariners fan, I would love to see us play finals this year, obviously. But do you think Central Coast Mariners can still clinch finals, or will it be too hard for them now with the competition and some dropped points in the last 4 games? Coming back to that, because it's a goal for Australia. Alex Chidiac finds the back of the net. We'll come back to that question from Paul. But that is 3-0 now for the Tillies. Alex Chidiac. She's been good in this game, working really hard in midfield. And it's a left-footed strike. Space just opened up for her in front of the back line. Defensive line retreating. And from the edge of the box, well-placed effort. Almost like a side-footed effort there from Chidiac. Just placing it. She could have gone for power there, but she wanted to find that far post, and she got it. 3-0. Love it. Goal indeed. Laos under 23s jumping into the live chat. We'll be very happy with Sydney FC's win in the Sydney Derby. We were watching that one earlier as well. Big mega live watch along tonight. But going back to Paul's question, yeah, look, it's going to be very tough now for Mariners to play finals, to be honest. After losing to Melbourne City, drawing with Perth Glory. I mean, this past week's been busy for the Mariners, but draw with Perth and Brisbane and losing to Melbourne City, it's going to be real tough. I've still got to keep hope all the way till the end, but you have to be realistic, and it is certainly going to be difficult. G'day Beta, who says, hey mate, thoughts on Jets qualifying for the ACL Elite? Surely they get some good signings in the off-season. Personally, I already can't wait. I feel they will go deep in the Oz Cup again also. Yeah, I mean, huge campaign already coming up next year for Newcastle Jets, regardless of what happens from here. But hey, congratulations to the Jets securing Asian Champions League Elite football. It's been a long time since Newcastle Jets have featured in Asia. So, yeah, massive for that club. Hey, it'll be curious to see how they fare. And as you say, they're like, surely they get some good signings in the off season. It will certainly be a draw card. It is. It really is, I think, for players. If they've got a few offers in the A-League, if you're a team that's playing in, obviously there's two A-League teams. This next season it may well be Heidelberg United. We'll see. But generally it's 2 A-League teams featuring in Asia. And if you're an A-League team featuring in Asia, it's another draw card for players coming to the A-League. You get to play more games. And especially ACL Elite. You get to come up against, like, the teams that you're coming up against in the ACL Elite are obviously some of the best in Asia. Yeah. Paul says if Jets can keep most of their squad this season and bring in some new additions, they could possibly go far in the ACL, possibly. Indeed. Indeed. I mean, hopefully they do keep, like, just from an Australian point of view, hopefully the Jets do keep a fair chunk of their squad for next season, because it'd be cool to see this team. Because they are a good team, man. They've got good players. It would be good to see them and how they would fare in the ACL Elite. That's right, Luke. From potentially being dissolved to winning it all in 2 years, what a roller coaster! Yeah, man, it's pretty incredible, isn't it? It really is. It really, really is. Free kick coming up for Australia. Nevin. Good chance. Oh, my goodness me. So close. Remy Seamson not too far away for goal number 4 for Australia. Good delivery from Nevin. Remy Seamson getting up for it. Keeper came out but didn't claim it. And Remy Seamson with the great opportunity. Oh, open goal. Open net. Paul also says Milligan is an amazing coach, 100%. And of course, Paul, I mean, of course, Milligan was, with Paul being an Adelaide fan, Milligan, of course, was at Adelaide as an assistant coach last year. And now doing a fantastic job as head coach at Newcastle Jets. Rasso, Sayer. The Matildas in a good area of the pitch once again. Got a 3-goal lead at this stage. Plenty of time to go in this game, but important to get that 3rd goal, I think. It just sort of settles things down a little bit even more. Gives us a little bit more of a buffer because, again, Malawi had a couple decent opportunities. And would have been a bit nervy if it got into 2-1. But there we go. Beta, thanks very much for that very kind super chat, my friend. Really appreciate it. Says people are sleeping on Heidelberg in the ACL too, with Johnny A, and no doubt attracting some talent. They can surprise some people, praying they get the spot. Yeah, man, it'll be really interesting to see how Heidelberg fare if they do indeed play in the ACL too. As another change for the Matildas. Ford off, McNamara on, Torpy off as well. And it is Jamila Rankin coming on. Yes, so Heidelberg United. It would be really cool to see them play in the Asian Champions League too, to see a club from outside the A-League to play in Asia. It would be quite something. It would be historic. And obviously Heidelberg United were incredible in that Australia Cup run last year, making it all the way to the final, beating some quality A-League opponents. And I mean, how would they fare in the Asian Champions League too? It's a different kind of competition. Here's a chance for Malawi. Great chance for them. Shot on target. Great breakaway. And Mackenzie Arnold down to save it. Chances coming thick and fast now in the game. But yeah, man. Heidelberg United. It'll be really fun to watch them in the ACL too, if they do indeed play next year. But Beta, once again, thanks for that very kind super chat, mate. Really appreciate the support of the channel. Appreciate you guys being here, joining us on this Saturday evening. EB Gamer says, amazing Sydney FC, by the way. How are you doing? Thanks for asking, EB. I appreciate that. I'm doing well, man. I've been enjoying a lot of football today. Watching some of the A-League action earlier on the Savo, and we've been live for what? We're literally about to tick over to 3 hours. So, hey, to celebrate ticking over to 3 hours, hit the like button if you haven't done so already. You can also consider setting it a super chat to support, but just being here and hanging out is good enough as well. Paul says 100% agree. I hope they would get the spot in regards to Heidelberg United. Says would be great for Oz football and very interesting as an Adelaide fan. Though if we finish third, we could get Asia. So mixed opinion. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I don't think it's confirmed yet in regards to what happens there, but we'll see. Malawi are making a goalkeeper change as we speak. Goalkeeper substitution for Malawi. How about this? Luke says, I can see Millsy going the same route that Ange did, eventually finding himself in the Premier League within 10 years, maybe even 5. I mean, hey, he's done a great job winning the Australia Cup within a few games in charge. And then potentially, they could win the treble. Again, they could win the treble. They could win the Premier's Plate and the Championship, which would be something quite incredible. And I'm sure if they do indeed get it done, if they do win the treble, the Jets, sure Milligan, like earlier we were talking about which players from Newcastle might be departing, might get some interest from overseas. Mark Milligan might be getting some interest from overseas. Chance for Australia again. Chidiac off that free kick, not too far away. Dude, if Heidelberg got to the knockout round, the knockout phase of the ACL2, that'd be huge. I feel like to be fair, that's probably that would be their aim. I feel like to get to the knockout phase. We saw MacArthur in the most recent Asian Champions League 2 campaign. The group stage wasn't easy for MacArthur. They got through in the end and put in some good performances in their group stage, but it wasn't easy. There were some tricky games in that group stage. So I think, to be fair, looking at where maybe Heidelberg would stack up, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what kind of squad they would take to the ACL2, but I think if they got to the knockout phase, that'd be a pretty big achievement for a club that's outside of the A-League, Beta also says, if Heidelberg do in fact compete in Asia, surely it begs the question for the higher-ups of promotion relegation, or at least offering Australian Championship champions a spot in the A-League. I think Heidelberg's run in the recent Australia Cup certainly has sort of brought that promotion relegation question up again, hasn't it? So, and if they were to do well, if Heidelberg were to do well in the ACL2, pushes that argument even more. We'd love to see it. We'd love to see it one day, promotion relegation. But what does it actually look like in Australian football? That's the question. But hopefully the people in charge do indeed get moving on it. All right, we are into the final 20 minutes of this game. We've ticked past 70 minutes. Australia 3, Malawi 1. Not 1-0. Almost 1. They have had some chances. A little bit of a reshuffle in the back line as well, with Jamila Rankin coming on. She's at left back now, which has shifted Nevin to centre back alongside Heatley. Charlie Rule's over at right back as we speak. It's a great question, Troy. Troy asks, what about West United? Are they coming back? I hope so. But we don't know, right? I don't think we know. I don't think we've heard anything. There hasn't been much in the media about it lately. Hopefully something soon. Hopefully we hear something positive soon. Are they coming back to the A-League? Hopefully. Hopefully they do revive themselves and do feature in the A-League again. What a dramatic story it was in the recent off-season, and obviously caused a lot of chaos in regards to fixtures, and the fixtures were going to come out, but then the whole Western United drama happened, and if you remember, it was really being sort of dragged out for some time, that Western United situation. Paul says, promotion and relegation is the dream, but not sure if it would happen for a while, sadly. I feel the same way, Paul. Yeah, it just feels like we don't quite have the like there's still like a lot of issues that need sorting out in Australian football. There's still, a multitude of issues, as there always is, of course, which we are capable of overcoming. Corner for Malawi. Sayer gets the header away at the far post. Not the most convincing defending, actually, in the end. But ends in a goal kick anyway. Australia, 3 goals. Feel like we're not too far away from a 4th. Feel like it's on the cards. We've made a few different substitutions now across the park. Seamson's on at the top, replacing Sam Kerr. Kennedy came on to replace Wheeler in midfield. Sayer replaced Van Egmond. We also saw Jamila Rankin coming on for Caitlin Torpey, which brought on a bit of a reshuffle at the back. Here comes Charlie Rule now at right back, getting into a forward position. Alex Chidiak has been very, very good in this game and wins another free kick. Beta's brought a little bit of a breakdown here in regards to promotion relegation. Let's check out this comment. A-League top tier, Oz Championship home and away season, second tier. NPL season premiers compete in playoffs to be promoted. Or do we do the J1, J2 method like Japan, which I also don't mind? Yeah, look, I don't have any strong feeling. I mean, I feel like the first method that you mentioned there would probably be the way to go. But whatever's going to work, whatever's going to be realistic for us, initially. So, yeah, I don't have any strong feelings either way. Just whatever's going to work, whatever's going to be feasible. Chance for Australia. Oh, set piece was floated in and Winnie Heatley with a strike, but couldn't keep it down. Hey, but hopefully we do see promotion and relegation one day. One day. So, with 15 minutes remaining, hopefully, we've got some promising players on the bench. Surely Joe Montemurro could give a debut to Letitia McKenna, maybe some minutes for Izzy Gomez. We'll see. Amy Sayer. Ball comes across the face of goal. Remy Simpson off the post. Oh my goodness. What a miss. Australia should be up 4 goals. Cross comes in again. Away by the keeper. Wow. Malawi away. This is a chance now for Malawi. They're on the counter-attack. Huge opportunity. The shot comes in. It's just wide of the near post. Wow, that was absolute chaos. End-to-end action in Kenya. Nairobi, where this game is being played. Great chance for Australia. Sayer playing it across. It was an open net for Remy Simpson, who hit the crossbar. And McNamara on the follow-up, denied on the goal line. Oh, my goodness. Well, Remy Simpson, fantastic striker, should have scored. What an opportunity. And Holly McNamara, you thought she would have surely finished it off, but was unable to do so as well. So after 76 minutes, it remains Australia 3, Malawi 0. Wow. Wow. Luke says Malawi are a solid side, definitely underrated in the rankings. Yeah, dude. Absolutely. I mean, they're ranked, I believe it was 153rd in the FIFA rankings, Malawi. Australia. I mean, they've looked genuinely close to scoring Malawi on a number of occasions. This is what I was talking about a little bit earlier. We just have to try and maintain just maintain the concentration at the back, and not. I mean, we've got the 3-0 lead here. Just see things out from here. That's all we got to do, essentially. Yeah. Paul here, in regards to A-League promotion relegation, says that's the dream plan. To be honest, sounds like it would work, but realistically, we need a lot of funding, and I wish more fans attended the matches, which would definitely give it a better chance of happening. Yeah, that's the thing, like money, right? Which is always the issue, which is always the talking point. Money. Hey, we finally do have that debut. Letitia McKenna is entering the field of play to replace Alex Chidiac. Chidiac has had a great game, scored a very nice goal a moment ago. And Melbourne City's Letitia McKenna is on the field of play. Hopefully, Jessica, we are aiming for another goal or two. Surely, there's still plenty of time. Would be great to add another. Beta, going back to promotion and relegation, says, fully understand the funding concern. However, I have no doubt if the foundation/community clubs could go top tier, the sponsors and funding would come from everywhere. There's so much potential. I've always believed in the potential, hey. Yeah, I mean, you just look at the hype that surrounds especially the Australian national teams at World Cup tournaments, even the Matildas at the Asian Cup recently. I mean, there's a massive supporter base. There's a massive number of football fans in Australia, whether they are currently following an A-League team or not. I mean, hopefully one day we can get to the point where every football fan in Australia is regularly following and regularly, attending A-League games. That's the dream as well. There's a lot of potential. Jessica says, so happy more young players are getting some time, so we prepare for next year and we build a strong team. Absolutely. Letitia McKenna has been very, very good for Melbourne City for a couple of years now, and getting her opportunity in midfield after replacing Chidiac. Beta says, Robertson with an assist for Cardiff, lads. Says Beta in the live chat. Thanks for that, mate. I'll have to check. Pulling up FOTMob as we speak right now. Alex Robertson, who had limited minutes for the Socceroos in the recent window, just came off the bench at the end of the game against Curacao, which we did a live watch along for that one as well, of course. There we go. Cardiff City. There you go. Yeah, you're right. Cardiff City, who have a 2-goal lead over Bolton. That is in League One in England. 2-0 there to Cardiff. And Alex Robertson, the Australian midfielder, has provided an assist for Cardiff's second goal. Cardiff currently sit second in League One. Looking pretty likely. They're 10 points clear, Cardiff, at the moment, as this result stands. 10 points clear of third place. Cardiff, which would mean automatic promotion to the English Championship, which would be good news for Aussie Alex Robertson. Luke says, feels like we need to get the A-League to 16 to 18 teams before we talk about promotion relegation, unfortunately. I agree. I think we need more A-League teams. And a longer season. Something that I'm so passionate about, dude. We need a longer season. And we see like coaches and stuff talking about it in regards to like national team selection. There's not enough games in the A-League, man. I mean, look at, over we were just talking about the League One and English Championship. I know there's 24 teams in those leagues, but they're playing like 46 games, right? So, and the A-League is playing 26 games. That's just obviously just including the league. So we need more teams. We need a longer season. 16 teams. Play everyone once home and once away. That's what, 30 rounds? So really good discussion here in the live chat though regarding promotion relegation and all that. It's always such a passionately discussed topic, promotion relegation, and hopefully we do see it one day. A fully connected pyramid in football in Australia. So Australia 3-0 over Malawi. Currently in the 83rd minute. Great to see Letitia McKenna make her debut for Australia. She's currently on the field of play. There we go. Hey, we're getting some... I really appreciate the updates in the live chat here regarding some of our Aussie players abroad. Luke says, Mo Toure is playing for Norwich too, currently losing to Ipswich Town. Came on as a sub at the 47th minute. There we go. Thanks for that, Luke. Mo Toure, there we go. Well, we'll keep an eye on that game as well. Hopefully we can see Mo Toure get on the score sheet once again. He provided a couple assists, didn't he, last week for his club side Norwich City, and we're hoping Mo Toure carries some really strong form into the World Cup in a couple months. Certainly feels like the Mo Toure is Australia's starting striker for the World Cup. Paul asks, will you be going to the F3 Derby? Yes. How long actually is the trip? Not long. Well, depends on what area of the Central Coast you're coming from, but yes, Newcastle's roughly an hour and a half away from the Central Coast. Yeah, so there'll be a strong contingent of Mariners fans in attendance. So yeah, looking forward to it. G'day, Jimbo. Jimbo's here, and of course is happy about Sydney FC's win in the derby earlier this evening. We, of course, started our live watch along over 3 hours ago, watching that Sydney derby where the Sky Blues defeated Wanderers 2-0. There's great chance. Hayley Rasso, right in front of goal, should have buried it with the header. To be fair, it's a rare header there for Hayley Rasso. Don't often see her get headed opportunities. Yeah, Troy says here, speaking about that F3 derby, says not long now driving. Fuel is expensive these days. Yeah. So that's right. I heard that too. Yeah, I heard the commentators mention that too, Luke. Yes, I think I heard on the Newcastle Adelaide broadcast that they're expecting 20K for the F3 derby. Yeah, look, no surprise. I mean, it's possibly Newcastle's chance to lift the Premier's plate, possibly. Chance for Australia, Rankin. And to finish it off, the flag stays down. Holly McNamara makes it 4 for Australia. Nicely worked goal. It's 4. And it feels like Australia probably deserved goal number 4 there. There's an Australian fan in the stands who has tongs in his hand. There you go. Not often you see that. Seamson, it was onside. It was onside. Apologies. Seamson, great pass, great overlap run from Jamila Rankin. And finishing it off, Holly McNamara, the 3 substitutes combining for that goal there. Brilliant. Seamson, Rankin, McNamara. Brilliant goal. McNamara gets another one for Australia. But yes, just going back to that comment there from Luke, very much looking forward to that F3 derby. And yeah, not only is it an F3 derby, but a chance for the Jets to potentially lift silverware in front of their home fans. So I'm sure it'll be a huge attendance at McDonald Jones Stadium on April 25th. McKenna. Nice forward pass into the channel for Rankin. Can Australia find goal number 5? One, two, three, four, 5. Oh, nice pass again from McKenna. Maybe offside this time. Yeah. Alrighty. So, overall, it's been a good performance from the Matildas. There's been some really nice forward movement, especially in the second half. I feel like the second half is both halves. There's been a good attacking play, but great to see in the second half. We've been pretty clinical going forward. So Australia, we should mention as well, Australia winning this game means that the next fixture is confirmed for Australia, at least in regards to the date and time. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the kickoff may be 1 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which isn't great, which isn't good news. So it'll be a less comfortable time than this one kicking off at 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So it may well be, don't quote me on that. I'll have to double check afterwards. But it may well be a later kickoff for the Tillies in their next game. So the Tillies will either be taking on India or Kenya, which those two teams are playing each other straight after this one, I believe. So India, Kenya will be one of those teams will be the opponents in game 2 in a few days' time. I believe that'll be Wednesday night, Australian Eastern Standard Time. Might even be Thursday morning in the early hours of the morning. Appreciate you guys joining us here for this live watch long. We are in the final stages of this game with the Tillies cruising to a 4-0 victory over Malawi. It's been great to have your guys' company here for the last few hours. We'll have some live watch-alongs coming up over the next few weeks. Got some huge games coming up in the A-League season. 2 rounds after this weekend remaining in the regular season. And then, of course, finals coming up. So if you're not subscribed, consider doing so if you want to come and hang out for our live watch-alongs. We've got the A-League Women's Finals in a couple weeks' time as well. Not next weekend, but the week after. A-League Women's Finals get underway. A bit of a break before those matches. Elimination Finals happening in a couple weeks' time. Canberra, Adelaide, Melbourne Victory, Brisbane Roar amongst the Elimination Finals. And, of course, Melbourne City. They are straight through to the semi-finals, as are Wellington Phoenix, who had a great season in the A-League Women's this year. 5 minutes of added time. If you guys have any more comments or questions, feel free to throw them in the live chat. Thanks again, Beta, earlier this evening, sending in a very kind super chat. Really appreciate your support, mate. Really appreciate that. Luke says, spewing that I won't be able to go to the F3 derby, having to house/dog sit 3 hours away from Newcastle. Sorry to hear, Luke, but hopefully you enjoy watching the game from afar. And yeah, man, look, regardless of whether Mariners are out of like finals contention or not, like it'll still be a great game. It'll still be a massive game because again, from a Mariners point of view, there could be an opportunity for the Mariners to win, to stop the Jets from winning the Premier's Plate, which would be quite something. So Malawi, credit to them, they've looked dangerous at times in this game. The counterattack, they've been really good going forward. Had a great chance at the end of the first half where they easily could have scored, which would have made it 2-1, which would have given a very different vibe to the second half. But the Australia players have done a good job of maintaining momentum, and the substitutes have come on and made a real good impact. Simpson and McNamara combining earlier. Jamila Rankin's on. Debut here for Letitia McKenna. Saya came on as well. Alana Kennedy came off the bench as well in the second half. Beta asks, any thoughts on Devonish Mears? Personally, hope some clubs abroad take notice, although could his age turn them away? I don't think so. I think for a goalkeeper, the age almost like isn't really a question, perhaps. He's been great. He's probably been the best goalkeeper in the league. Devonish Mears has probably been the best goalkeeper in the league. I'm thinking now if anyone's been better than him, and he's probably been the best keeper in the league. Patrick Beach is probably up in the conversation as well. I think James Delianov has had a good season at Newcastle Jets. Joshua Smith has been good. Devonish Mears, for me, has been the best goalkeeper in the league. Appreciate that, Paul, who says, thanks for the great live stream, mate, and good chat with everyone. Got to go now. See ya. Thanks, Paul, for tuning in, bro. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Luke says, the two F3 derbies I went to this season have both been entertaining games, so no doubt game 3 will be too. Yeah. Even though the last F3 derby was a scoreless draw, it was still a great game, man. It was really good. And obviously that very dramatic opening round F3 derby, the Mariners with a stunning 3-2 victory to kick off the campaign. Rasso wins the ball high up the park. Looking for goal number 5. Surely now for the Tillies. Great finish. Great finish. Great goal. Is it McKenna? Oh, dude, it is. Oh, that's even better. Letitia McKenna scores on debut for Australia. Oh, that is special. You love to see it. Letitia McKenna rewarded with a call up to the Australia national team. Thanks to her good form with Melbourne City. Comes off the bench and scores. Brilliant. Well, Rasso won the ball half the park. McKenna running forward. And it was a good finish. Dude, not an easy finish. The keeper was closing the angle a little bit. Had to find the bottom corner. Perfect finish. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. And that may well just take us through to full time. So it's Australia 5, Malawi 0. Which is capped off overall a very comprehensive performance from Australia. Van Egmond, Kerr, Chidiac, McNamara, and now McKenna, the goal scorers for Australia. Australia on the attack once more at the end here. Sayed crossing it in. Goalkeeper claims it. And that is full time in Nairobi, Kenya, where Australia have secured a 5-0 victory. Top performance. Jessica says, this game is good. We got to see what young players can do. Yep, great to see some players that we don't get to see as much of feature in this game. And a great way to finish off there. Letitia McKenna scoring on debut. For the Matildas. Awesome to see. Guys, thanks very much for tuning in this evening and joining what has been a mega live stream, almost clocking up at 3.5 hours. Shout out again to Beta for the very kind super chat. Really appreciate your support of the channel, mate. Very, very appreciative of that and appreciative of you guys just being here, hanging out. So before you leave, hit the like button on the way out if you haven't done so already. Cheers, Blinkus. So he says, thanks, everyone. Take it easy. Lockie Luke says, what a game by the Tillies. Good debut for McKenna. Absolutely. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your weekends, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.